All right, so we're live for the third time, mind you. So hopefully third times is the charm, as they say. So I'm gonna say again, ETM Hotep. Again, it's our third time. Reni Wujao. My name is Wujao, and welcome to the Sesh Mani Medew Netcher YouTube channel. All right. So now I guess we could kind of just dive on in because hopefully everyone who was there for the first uh first two takes, hopefully you dialing back in, tuning back in. We could just gonna jump into it. So apologize, I have no idea what the issue is. And somebody said it's the aliens. Yeah, maybe. Maybe those UFOs that they're speaking of now, you know. Um so all right, so we're just gonna dive in. But I guess since it's a fresh restart, let me just give a couple of announcements. So again, you know, on this channel, we advocate, interactions, we advocate learning, sharing of information, and then walking the journey of learning the language. And, one of the important things about learning the language is if you are interested in the ancient Egyptian culture, then it's imperative that you learn the language. That's the only way that you're going to have an intimate relationship with the culture. And that goes for any culture. All right. So it's not just isolated to ancient Egypt or Kemet. It's for any culture that's not your own culture. Um, but specifically this one because it's so ancient and we're so far removed from it. All right. Now this is beyond, above and beyond, the average just awe and amazement at ancient Egypt as a civilization. But if you ever want to, dive further in, you have to learn the language, or else you're going to be handicapped. And so this is what we advocate. This is what we teach. We have a study courses, specifically the beginner's introduction to Egyptian hieroglyphic, which we know as Sesh Netcher is the writing system, and Rodney Kemet is the language. So we give a basic beginner's level study course, which is designed for you to go travel that journey at your own pace. We don't recommend you do it on your own, but definitely at your own pace. And so, not being on your own, we have weekly live sessions, 2-hour sessions where you have a chance to get clarification, ask questions, speak to an instructor and fellow students, and students are always invited. Even people who have become certified and even more advanced are always welcome in the beginners sessions because we're always expanding, learning, fine tuning different things. All right. So all of that is available. There's links inside of the description of the videos and all of our videos for, if you want to register. But just real quickly on the links, we have two websites, seshmedenetcher.com, which is our home and where we have all the resources. And we're going to be expanding those. And then we have sabauniversity.com, which is the educational environment and courses and lessons. All right. So make sure you check those two websites out. All right. seshmedenetcher.com and Saba University. Okay. So we're going to try this again and get started. So maybe it was shutting off because I'm running my mouth too much. So I'm going to, well, actually, I reintroduced myself. So maybe we can go another round of everybody introducing themselves and then we can jump in and get started.
Hotep, Tamika, Mika. Hello, everybody.
Hotep, Reni Imiket. My name is Imiket. Welcome.
Hotep, this is Kadeem Zhang, and I'm back from the abyss.
Welcome to KMT Radio.
Okay, and make sure you let me, I think I'm not able to share at this point. So if you can fix that real quick.
Yes, I will. I was waiting for our radio co-host to announce himself.
Okay.
What's up, family? This is Brother Chris.
Oh, yeah.
You see that? Welcome to KMT Radio. Hotep family, this is Brother Chris.
He does have that voice.
We're about to slow it down with some smooth jams. We're going to start off with Smokey Robinson and the Miracles.
See, you already know. That's the Chicago. Yeah, see, you know.
All right. So, all right, I'm going to hand it over to Sonette Emiket so that she can give her share of information and presentation. So we're going to sit back, be patient, suck it in, and then take questions, comments, and open up and, possibly talk about some other things. But there you have it.
Okay. And let me make sure everything is working again, because usually when I start sharing, for some weird reason, it doesn't seem to want to work with me for the first slide. But yeah, so before I start, I think we should do the offering, family, just to appease the ancestors so they don't, the aliens can leave us alone. So I'll just try to do it from memory. So Hotep Dinesu, Wasir, Nebjadu, Netcher A, Neb Abju, DF Peret Hiru, Tihin Ket, Ka Apet, Shesmin Ket, Ket Nebet, Netheret, Wabet, Anket, Netcher Im, Inkani Imaku, Aku, Maakiru. And what it actually says is an offering the king gives for Osiris, Lord of Jadu, Lord of Abju, so that he may give a voice offering of bread and beer, ox and fowl, and linen and alabaster, and all good things, all good and pure things that God lives in, for the car of the ancestors, the venerated. Pretty much. So hopefully the aliens will leave us alone so we could get going with this, a little presentation. And this is it's going to be on one of the headrests of Tutankhamen. And he actually has on his tomb, they did find, a couple of headrests. I forget how many, but there's this one particular one that is really good. It's really pretty. It's made of glass. And it's just beautiful, and it's short and clear. And actually there is actually a translation on it on the main website that Seba Ujao mentioned, seshmedunetcher.com. You can find the students' translations there. But today we're going to use it as an example for our Divine Words Wednesday. And today we're just going to do, our classic Divine Words Wednesday. And just so to know a little bit about the Seshuma Ani Medunetcher. The Seshuma Ani Medunetcher is a membership of like-minded individuals with aspirations of being true, loyal scribes of divine words. We embrace the importance of learning the languages of Kemet as a means to enter the world of ancient Kemet and have a meeting of the minds with the illustrious civilization, society, culture, and people who are responsible for contributing so much to the world, whether realized or not. So we use the language as a means to, have a conversation with the Remetch. And so the purpose of what we do, especially on Divine Words Wednesdays, is our purpose is to give examples of how Sesh Medunetcher, which is some people know as hieroglyphic script, is translated. In doing so, we also address one, that the Sesh Medunetcher script has been deciphered. Two, the methods for doing so. And three, to demonstrate that with time, discipline, and patience, anybody can do it. And you obviously know that, for us over here, like you've walked with us as through the different, our journey as we've learned through the years. So you can definitely, that can be attested, that with time and patience and discipline, anyone can do it as we have done it. So anybody else can do it. So on Divine Words Wednesdays, we kind of slow down the whole, translation method, the whole process. And the process consists of 4 steps. And this works for any language that, whether you're speaking your own language or you're learning a new language. Mostly with your language like your mother tongue, when you go through these steps, you will also go through them. It's just that you go through them subconsciously, while here we kind of like, break it down and, slow that whole process. But the steps of translation consist of 4 steps. And step 1 is observation. So this is where you determine the direction in which the signs are to be read. So step 1 would definitely allow lookership. So that's all right. Now on step 2, you have that data collection. And this is where you identify and document each individual glyph. And then step 3 is pattern recognition. This is where you group signs or the glyphs into words, and then that you're going to search in the dictionaries. And then the step 4, which is the last step, is we apply grammar. So this is where you come up with a sensible translation. So in this presentation, what I'm going to do is walk through, do 3 things really. So the first thing that I'm going to do is go through, slow walk the 4 steps that I just mentioned. And then the second part, we are going to see, look at how the functions of the headrest in Kemet. And then on the third and the last part, we're going to take a brief look into headrests in other parts of the African continent. So this is the headrest that we're going to be looking at. It's beautiful. It's a very simple, inscription. So this will give us enough time to kind of, break down the whole 4 processes. So if we start with the step 1 that we talked about, this is observation, lookership allowed in this part. So this is where you determine the direction in which the signs are to be read. And that would usually consist of either the glyphs being read left to right or right to left. And then the orientation would be either in columns or in rows. So what we see here is we have 1 column, and then the glyphs, to figure out the direction, we'll look at, the easiest way is to look at glyphs of animate objects. So this will be of animals, people, body parts. So in here we have, we can see at least, well, with Kepler, you can't really see the direction. Most of these glyphs, you can't see the direction, but we have here the cobra in repose. So this is facing right. So we are going to be reading right to left. So we read into the signs. So the direction of step 1 is right to left and is written in columns. So then we go through step number 2. And step number 2, if you remember, that is data collection. So this is where you identify and you document each individual glyph. So when you start out, you're going to actually be, it's going to be a little tedious. So you're going to be writing all the glyphs down and then, figuring out how they function. So usually with Sesh Netcher, you know that the glyphs can function in 3 different ways. So they could be either as logograms, or they could be as, they can function as phonograms, or they can function as determinatives. So with logograms, you will normally see the glyphs written with a single stroke as well. So this is where the words will represent the object itself. So for example, like when you have the glyph for the house, and then you see the enclosure, and then you see a single stroke underneath it or beside it, and that will be for pairs. So that will be meaning literally the house itself. So that's how a logogram functions. And then you will see when it functions as a phonogram, then it represents the sounds itself. So this, the enclosure in that particular instance, if it's functioning as a phonogram, then it would actually represent the sound, the consonants for P and R, as opposed to the house or enclosure itself. And then as a determinative, it could be used for things of places or enclosures. So this is those are the things that you're going to be looking for in that particular step 2. And here with the glyphs that we had in our inscriptions, you can see we had the Ankh. And so we just document everything. So we have the Ankh here, and it can function as a logogram, or as Ankh for the sandal strap itself, or you can see it as a phonogram. And that will be for the the two consonants A, the A and then N, lowercase a and then N and then X. So so you will do that whole process of writing or documenting or acknowledging all the different ways that those glyphs are functioning, whether you're writing it down or not. But as a beginner, you will, it will help to write those things down. So this is the first step where we've written down all the glyphs for, the ones that we have in this particular inscription and how they function on the last column in that table. So you see in the next page here, we also have the last bit of the inscriptions that we had. You see here the placenta, the sun. The placenta here functions as phonetically as X, and then you have Keper, and then you go all the way to the cobra in repose, and you write down all all the different ways it can function. So that is step 2, which is data collection. So then we go to step 3. So step 3 is where you have pattern recognition. So this is where you pass those or group the signs into words that you're going to be looking for in the dictionary. So once we have done that, and as here you can see, because it's a short inscription, the words are mostly abbreviated. So you'll see this with short inscriptions. Like for example, the Ankh, you don't see the phonetic complements included. You will not see determinative so much. So what we're going to be, so the grouping will, some will actually happen to be single glyphs. So in this grouping, I've also grouped not just words, but some of the common phrases that we meet, that we know. So you have the word Ankh, and then the how the meaning behind it. So that is the the step 3 of grouping them, and then when you look in the dictionary, this is what you're going to be getting. So one of the dictionary that we usually use is Vigus, which is it's an online dictionary, and it's easy to use as well. But we recommend that you use you have multiple dictionaries so it can help as well. So so that would be the third step. So we group all this into words or phrases, as in this case, and these are what we have come up with. So you have Keper, form, which means form or shape or modes of being, D, which is to give, put in place, and so forth. So once you've done that, then you get into the last step, which is to apply grammar. So you come up with a sensible translation. So I've given an example of what would happen. So for example, let's say these are the words that you came up with. These are what you found in the dictionary. So you want to put them together. So would you be doing it like, let's say, write down to live, the good God, Lord, the two lands, Lord of action, form or shape, give. I mean, you can't just put it like that. So you have to kind of make it make sense, basically. So doing that, a little bit of grammar will help. Yeah, so this part here, these are the glyphs that we had in the inscription that we had on the headrest. So for example, here we have Ankh, Netcher, Nefer. So Ankh will be live or to live. And then you have Netcher, Nefer. So here will be, what we see here is the Netcher Nefer is an attributive adjective. The Nefer itself is an attributive adjective, and it's attributive adjectives. We know that they are in agreement with in gender and in number. So it's describing this particular nature. So then that will help us render the good God. Okay, and then in the second, this other section here, we have Neb Tawi. So with Neb Tawi, this is, you have two substantives, side by side. So the thing is, how would you translate that? Would you say, Lord in the two lands? Would you be Lord, on the two lands, Lord of the two lands? So how does that, how do we go about getting a proper translation? And I'm saying this because, we had this other, we know about last month or whatever, a few weeks ago, where we had the thing about the Seker Ankh, and where that was translated as what was it again? Prisoner for life or slave for life or something like that. And so the question is, where do you get the word for? So you can't just put things together, the way you want it, but you kind of have to understand grammar to help you. So here we have two substantives side by side, and we know that substantives, when they are, when you have like substantive phrases, the relationship between them can happen in three different ways. So you can either have them being in opposition, or being a connection, or showing also possession. So here we have a direct genitive, which will be one of the ways of showing possession, which will be either direct genitive or indirect genitive. So with possession, it will be lord of the two lands. If it was in opposition, this would actually be two substantives that actually point to the same entity. So this is, let's say it said Neb, and then it said something like Wasir. So it'd be the possessor, Wasir. So it's talking about the same person. So this is two words when they are in opposition. And then with connection, they don't point to the same entity. So they're pointing to the different entities. So this is where you have like a listing. So for example, when you say a book, a pen, a cup, so you're listing things, they're different entities there, they don't point to the same entity. So, but here we have Lord, and then we have the two lands. So we know this is in opposition, so it'll be Neb-Tawi. So that we can say possessor of the two lands, and we can say that confidently as opposed to just pointing out things that make the translation work the way we want it to work. It should work the way it's supposed to work. So, and then the third part, so we did this top part, and then we did Neb-Tawi. So if we go to Neb-Iret-Ket, this is one of those phrases that we know a lot of. So we've had it a lot, and basically it just means possessor of doing things. Or like we saw in the dictionary part, it said lord of action. So like how people say actions speak louder than words. So this is a person that does things. So possessor of doing things, getting things done, basically. So so here you have the same thing would be Neb, and then Iret-Ket. What we saw here with the direct genitive of where we said Lord and then of, the two lands, here you have also Lord and then of Iret-Ket. So this substantive is a direct genitive, is in direct genitive with this phrase here. And then so that makes us render it as possessor of doing things. And then you have Neb Keperu-Ra. This is within the Shenu, so that would be the name. And this is actually the throne name of Tutankhamen. And if you remember what we talked about before, we should really definitely be calling these kings by their throne name as opposed to their Sarah name. So Tutankhamen is actually the Sarah name. So, but it should be Neb Keperu-Ra. So, but the name itself, normally we don't translate the names, but they do have meaning behind them. So, it's good to know what it is. So, Neb Keperu-Ra also means possessor or lord or owner of manifestations of Ra. This is also pretty much works the same as these other ones, but it's like Keperu-Ra is like a direct genitive. So you have manifestations of Ra, and then you have another direct genitive that is a direct genitive to this other direct genitive phrase. So it's like a nesting going on. So, and that's why we render it as possessor of the manifestations of Ra. So then we have Diank. And then Diank, I'm not going to break it down so much, but it will be a participle phrase. And this is the D, it will be, which is passive. So that's why we say given, as opposed to who gives life or give life. So it's like given, and then Ankh, the life. And then Mira down here. So we have me, and me is a preposition and is usually used to compare two things. And then, so here is actually comparing this particular phrase on the top, Diank. And then it's comparing, for example, like it is like what? So it will be like Ra. So it will be given life, me or like Ra. So that's what the me, this preposition me does in this normally, or in this particular inscription. And then the last bit is jet. And jet is usually a substantive, but in this instance is actually functioning like an adverb, really. So we have this phrase where it's telling us di ank, and then mira, so given life like ra. And then it's like going to explain, because with adverbs, it will tell you, it works with circumstances, where it's telling you where, when, why, how, why something happened, how something happened. So it's like given life like ra, but how? Forever. So it's a substantive, but here in this particular phrase is being used, adverbially. So with all that we know about, breaking it down and breaking down the grammar and everything in it, we can, looking at this inscription here, so where we had the Ankh and then Nefer Netcher, Netcher Nefer, and then Nebtawi, Neb Iret Ket, and then the name of Tutankhamun, and then given life, the Ankh, I'm mixing everything together, like Ra forever. So with that, and having gone through all that process of transliterating and all that, then we can safely come up with that translation that we have, which is like the living good God, or the living Netcher, Lord of the two lands, or possessor of the two lands, and then possessor of doing things, and the Neb Keperu Ra, given life like Ra forever. So so that is like the whole process of breaking it down, the 4 steps, and then using grammar and to come up with something that actually makes sense and is true to, is closer to what was intended. So yeah, so that is pretty much that whole 4 steps of going through the transliteration and the translation, and so of this particular inscription. But I just wanted to because I think everybody kind of knows that already, but sometimes it's good to break it down and to help, and also it would be good for those who are just starting out. But that was the whole inscription. But I also wanted to take a look at just headrest, because I think that headrests are very interesting, because it is especially this particular type of headrest, we find them all across the continent. And actually this is another another headrest that was for Tutankhamun, that was found in his tomb. And this one is actually made of ivory. And it has an interesting thing. I'm not sure, we might, if we have enough time, we might come back and then break it down a little bit. And then so just before we get over to the other parts of of the continent, just wanted to show a little picture of what the headrest, how it would be used. So the person will be lying down. He will lie down on their back, or they will be lying down on the side. And that's how it looks like from the back. And so so the headdress itself, we've talked about it, but what is it? Like in the Sesh is actually called weres, okay? And so it's the Remet, we're using it to keep the head propped up, in a perfect posture while sleeping or resting. And let me see if I can get it. Yeah, so this is the glyph for the determinative, which shows the weres, or the headrest itself. And then these are the different ways that it could be written down. I think there's more, but I just showed 3. And then so it consists, the weres itself consists of 3 elements. So you have this, the 2 planes, which is the top part, it carves a bit the arc, and then the bottom part. And then you have the column, that is used to support those 2 bits. So, and then it was good because, we know that the Remet used to, they slept on mostly on a mat and sat on a mat. But then this one would keep the headrest, or the weres would keep the head, propped up, and then they also, apart from it just being that particular functional furniture, they also used it to, for protection against dangers, like while sleeping, and in this sense, like dreams or like nightmares, basically. And with the Headrest, you would find some images or like sculptures around it of the deities, such as Bes. And Bes is known to protect mothers and children and children in homes. And then so that was put there to protect the person that is sleeping from bad dreams. And sometimes you would also find the Aset knot, and this is like the teeth. And I think I have it, yeah, in this here. 1 second, let me see if this is gonna work with me. So this will be the teeth that you'd find also as one of those designs that are sculpted around it for protection. And we do know about them mostly from the context of burial, because that's where we found, you know, in the Headrest or the headrest. And the head of the deceased would be raised on a headrest, and then it would be then placed in the coffin or the sarcophagus. And you know, looking at it, let's see if we can go back. Yeah, looking at it, it might look like it's a little uncomfortable. I mean, this one is made of ivory, the other one is made of glass, and it looks like, yeah, you know, it's all good. It seemed like a nice invention, but it's very uncomfortable. But then, from what I read, there were some soft paddings of linen pads that were, you know, and cloths that had been found that were probably used, you know, to make as cushions to make, you know, the headrest a little bit more comfortable. So, and here what we have is, you know, a mentioning of like really fine things like, I think it was it leopard skin? I know we've talked about that leopard skin a lot lately, but yeah, leopard skin and all that kind of stuff, incense and stuff. And then you also find the, you know, the Headrest as well. And these two are, this is from the tomb complex of Kai Ankh, and the other one is for Kai in Nisut. And then here you see the mention of the Headrest. There's 1,000 of them, and there's a mention of a plethora of other fine things as well. And then here also 1,000 of the Headrest. So obviously these are things that are pieces of furniture that you know, show status as well, you know, in ancient or in Kemet, basically. Now, the other places where you find the mention of the Headrest is, you know, you find it as text with incantations, which are used for the sleeper, the person sleeping, and this to help them awaken from a bad dream. And you see that being mentioned about awakening from a bad dream and, you know, raising your head towards the horizon. And that's very interesting, because if you look at the glyph, the word for Headrest, it's almost like it's a play on words with the word like rest, which means actually to awaken. And then you have also a similar word with resut, which is dream. So, and then the mention of the horizon, it appears that, you know, the glyph for the horizon itself, you know, you have like, it looks like how the head would look like while resting on the Headrest, you know. So pretty sure probably that's was one of those ways of, you know, doing a play on the words with the words of raising your head towards the horizon, you know. But and in this particular one where I'm talking about is you find it in the you know, chapter 166 of, you know, what is known as the Book of the Dead, and you find it in different ones. You can, you know, in this one I've taken it because I think everybody has this is from the Book of Ani. So here you find utterances for the headrest itself. So there's actually different utterances, and then you have this one here. You have this is for the teeth I was talking about. Then you have for the hat, and then this is for the Headrest, and you can see the Headrest here. And then I'll just read it. So, you know, instead of, but, you know, you could always go back and look at the glyphs transcribed here and the simplified glyphs. But so what it's pretty much saying is utterances for the headrest placed beneath the head of Wasir Ani, true of voice, awaken out of a bad sleep, actually says Medew Sejer, but Medew could be something like bad or you know, the negative stuff, and then you have Sejer, where it could be like either sleep or the bed, but here with the context, I think it means a bad sleep or like a nightmare, you know, a bad dream. So it says, "Wasir ani through a voice, awaken out of the bad sleep or the bad dream." Wasir, awaken your head towards the horizon. You have raised or you've woken, justified. Ptah has overthrown his enemies and yours. His enemies do not exist, Wasir. So these are the things that, you know, sometimes I think some of them would be included, some other incantations would be included on the headrest itself. So yeah, so that's pretty much it for the rest in Kemet. So the next part I would like to go through is, you know, looking at the headrest itself and how it was used across the other parts of the African continent as well. So just to show some pictures, you find it like different headrest with the Oromo tribe in Ethiopia, that one. And then you have this one with the Hemba people out of the Congo, Democratic Republic of Congo. And then you have this one here with the Songa people of South Africa and Mozambique. And this other one is from the Shona people in Zimbabwe. And there's pretty much a lot. Like with the headrest, there's there's a lot of different cultures and tribes on the continent used the headrest. And so what it does is like it shows like the commonality of African traditions from antiquity to the present times. And on the continent, the headdress were custom made, and also when you're talking about the continent, we also mean Kemet itself as well. So it was custom made for its owner, and the size is determined by the distance of the shoulder to the neck. So everybody's, so it was like something that has to be custom made. And you'd find it really with, we say so status kind of furniture, because obviously it's something that is custom made. And then secondly, you find it a lot with the nomadic tribes and with other tribes that, you know, usually adorn like intricate hairstyles. And specifically for the nomadic tribes, it's good too, because it's mobile for one, it's light, and then it's durable, you know. And so then they could use that while moving around. So with the nomadic tribes, obviously their status is also represented by their their livestock. So when they are out tending their livestock, then they would use the furniture to the headdress to rest, and then also to make sure that their styles are actually kept intact, because they usually had time to make like some really nice hairstyles. And then another good thing of it is that it's lifted from the ground, so the head is protected. So, and then you have you're protected from any kind of like bugs or termites, whatever, all kinds of insects. And then also within all the other tribes that you find on the continent, you'll see that the headdress itself is actually it's decorated, and I think we've seen that there's decorations around it, and if you look into more of those, you'll find that some of them were decorated with designs that referenced to like the ancestors or specific spirits or deities, and that was used for like protection, just like we have it with the ones in Kemet, where you would see it decorated with deities like Bes and all that. And then an example, just to show a little bit of examples of the tribes that you could find with the headdress, it would be like the Telem in Mali, the Luba in the DRC or Democratic Republic of Congo, the Ngoni in Tanzania, the Baul in Cote d'Ivoire or Ivory Coast, and then the Chokwe in Angola, Shona in Zimbabwe, Zulu, South Africa. And this is just to name a few, because trust me, it's like there's a plethora of tribes and designs, of this headdress on a continent. And another interesting thing is when you look at it with the Shona people, for them, the headdress was so personalized that the owner would be buried along with the headdress, and other personal items, And, actually, I know that there's a particular tribe in Congo where sometimes if the body was not, if somebody died and they didn't find the body, maybe it was like, washed away with water or something like that, then they would take that person's headrest and bury it as a as a replacement of the person. And I know, so that actually just shows how personal it was, because other tribes, like I know in Kenya, we probably sometimes in my tribe, they will take a banana plantain and bury that, if the person can be found or the body can be found. But in Congo, they would take the headrest. And then for the Songa people, the term Mahamba is used to describe any person or object or act that is used to establish a bond between the gods and the people. And they use this term as well to describe the headrest. So it's almost working as a communicating vehicle for, the ancestors, the living person and the ancestors and, and the spirits in a dream. So there's that little correlation with the dreams and the headrest, like we saw with the ones in the Kemetic headdress as well. And I just wanted to make a note that you might read some places about the ancient Egyptian headdress being like the earliest ones, but that really does not speak on who was first in creating the headdress. But it's mostly like, because we know that for the Remesh, their headdress was most like we see with the one for Tutankhamun, there was like the ivory one made from ivory, had one made from I think there's the glass that we transliterated as well, or translated. But so those would have made sure that those kind of items would have survived more, as opposed to the ones from the other parts of the continent where that's has like the wet climates and termites and all that, and those were mostly, like we see, made of wood, so those might not have survived through that time. So when you're talking about what was first, it mostly that would not be something that is 100% accurate, but it's mostly speaking on the Kemetic ones actually surviving because of them being more durable. And just to show an example of how the different African tribes using the headdress. So you have this old man here resting his head on that particular headdress, and then here you have some good example of the kind of in nomadic tribes you will see using the headdress. Like this one is from the Turkana tribe in Kenya, but you will always almost note that most of those tribes actually have like some very intricate styles that they would like to maintain. So you don't want your style getting jacked up. So the headdress would be a good tool to make sure that your style stay in place, because obviously it took time to make that. So and just to end it is just to show like the some of the things of going through that we've seen the similarities between the headdress in Kemet and the other parts of the continent. And it's not just the design, and then you have the connection with it being used for burial stuff as well, and then the connection with dreams and and the ancestors where most even on the continent they would actually make adorn it with styles with of deities and ancestors that were used for protecting the person who's sleeping in it. In Kemet you would see that with the different deities like Bes and all that. And then also with the status that you would see that just like in Kemet you would see that across the continent it would be used by people who are like well off, or it would be like a status symbol. So that is it. And because I kind of just went through, just basic stuff around it, just to give you ideas if anybody's interested in, going further and maybe focusing on a particular African tribe and their headrest and all that kind of stuff. There's definitely, things to research there, but I just give a few of interesting reads that, those who are interested on the African part of the headdress can go and look. And obviously there's a little bit more, but yeah, so that's pretty much it.
All right, excellent. So the link to the panel link, I posted it inside of the YouTube chat. So if you want to join the panel, you're welcome to. Everyone is invited. And when you come in, just make sure you mute your mic until you're ready to speak. And so, yeah, just come on in. Now, like I said, we advocate interaction, interactive discussion. And so if anybody has any questions on what was just presented or, any information to share to go along with it, by all means. So the floor is open and the chat is open. So if you don't, if you're unable to click the link to come in on a panel, then, feel free to ask your question in the chat. But there's a delay with that, obviously. So just be a bit patient. But which is the word excellent, excellent presentation and information. But one thing I want to say, just, from looking at the pictures, now I've seen, the pictures you just showed, and I've seen quite a few others of people using those headrests, to this very day. And I don't know if, like, right now, because that's not part of, a culture that I grew up in, but those bad boys look uncomfortable. I don't know how comfortable they are. It seems like it would be, but I don't, like I said, I don't know. I wouldn't know. But from the looks of it, it's like, wow. But I doubt if anybody would be able to sleep or rest if it was uncomfortable. So it's just, that's just interesting to me.
Yeah, but I think like some of them that were found in Kemet will be, like they had like linen, to cushion those, make like a little cushion around the head part, so that might have helped. But I think what I found to be interesting is because I don't know where I read it before, but like a good a good sleeping posture would actually be on your back or something like that. Like somewhere I read it. It could be pseudo. I don't know. I probably have to check. I didn't include it in this because I don't know. I haven't confirmed if it's pseudo or not. But I think it was used in meditation stuff where it's like when you sleep on your back, you have then you have more better and clear dreams or something like that. So and stuff like this, probably be good for that kind of sleep. So, it might look uncomfortable, but hey, I don't know. But I'm just going to put it in there. Like I thought about that while looking at that. But they definitely do look uncomfortable, but I guess we are kind of spoiled now. And then maybe some things we use now and in the future, some people will be looking like they're uncomfortable. And we were like thinking like they were like breakthrough,
Right. So, so peace and welcome anybody who happened to click on the link. I think a few people may have clicked on the link. So, like I said, it's open. The mic is open. So if you have any questions, anything to share, then, by all means. So I see we have Brother Donnie, and I see we have Bonsu Angapong, Ghana. Screen name is Ghana. So yeah, welcome. If you all have anything to share or questions, you can feel free.
Yes, I did have one question for Emiket. It was about a glyph. If you could pull back up that slide where you had the awakening and the rest and all that good stuff.
Okay, so let me see if I can find it.
Okay, well, while she finds it, I just want to say, when I was saying, to me, the interesting part is in terms of the comfort is not so much the material, being hard or anything, but the angle. Like, I saw, the person with the head propped up. It seemed like on the neck, it would be uncomfortable for the neck itself, the angle of them and stuff. But like I said, I'm not informed on that to say one way or the other. It's just so I find it very interesting. But just from the look of it, though, at least,
yeah,
it's like, ouch, that seems like it'd be uncomfortable.
Yeah, they still sell. They make modern ones where they sell them, so that I might actually have to buy one and experiment.
Okay, so So on the first set of awaken, you have the yard, the doorbolt. I'm not sure what that third one is.
Oh,
I
it's
missed
like
it.
a plank. It's like two sticks together, plank, and then tied.
Okay.
Yeah. I forget what it is. The gardener code, but it's like two planks of wood, and then they're put together and then tied, and you can see the tying of. Man, it does me like this all the time. Let's see. Let me go back. Here you can see the part where it's tied with the rope. So hopefully that helps. I'm gonna look into what glyph that is, but hopefully that helps explaining
It's a
what it is.
start. Yes, it's a start. Thank you.
Yeah, and it's actually by little for the word rest. I think so. Yeah, I'll confirm and then let you know.
Thanks.
Anybody else? Because I definitely like the silence. Any other questions, comments? And just remember, if you tuned in.
Question.
Okay, there you go.
Yeah, I was saying.
Oh, you're breaking up a bit. You just sound a little bit broken up a bit. I can hear you. I can hear you. Your volume, but you broke up a bit.
Yeah, I mean, I'm actually on a project.
Okay, so while you sort out yourself, yes, to Donnie. So Donnie, that was like is the gardener code is T13.
Can you hear me now?
Yes. But just real quick, so it's T13 and it's joined pieces of wood, and it is a bilateral for RS.
Got you. Thank you.
Okay, so I just wanted to say greetings to all. Ghana is my actual legal name, lawful name. It's on record publicly. And that's all I had to say. I'm just observing the day, so I'm going to be muting my microphone for the rest of the time.
Okay, appreciate it. And welcome to the panel, welcome to the chat, welcome to the channel. So yeah, that's interesting. So yeah, T13 is the glyph that Donnie, what you were asking about, the joined piece of wood. And so what's interesting, this whole thing is interesting of the wording and then the iconography or what the headrest actually looks like. A bit of the Aket, and then we have awaken and dream, kind of similar in the words resut or reswet, depending on who you talk to. So that's interesting. And
Yes,
like I said, okay.
Oh no, I was just saying that, yeah, and it's interesting. Sensidik in the chat actually was mentioning those last week. About the play on words with the rest and the resut. So he probably, if he's on it, if he can come up on the panel, so he can speak more about it as well.
Yep. All right. So, I mean, because information was shared, so I'm looking for any questions or anything on it. This kind of information, dreams, sleeping, dreams, death, things like that are at that edge boundary of conversation. People get into those discussions about dreams, discussions about what happens when you die, after you die, and stuff like that. And those conversations can take a life of its own, really. I've been in many of those types of conversations over the years, and stuff, and I've heard how those discussions and conversations can go. But there's some things about all of this, that we could kind of reassess and have some very, very good productive conversations about them. Like last week, I gave a few hints or some tidbits about ancestral veneration and what would be a very good and maybe a series of conversations about that, revisiting the whole concept of venerating ancestors and what does it mean? What does immortality really mean? What does an afterlife really mean? And what is ancestral veneration actually doing? All right, so those are three things that's definitely connected and stuff like that. So, I'm looking forward to having a very, very productive conversation about that. For those who want to, be a part of that, participate. Just let me know, because I just want to set something up where we can start a series that will kick off and have those type of conversations, or discuss those topics in a series of conversations. All right. I'm ready right now to have those kind of conversations, but it's something that we would have to plan, I guess, because that would be definitely a slow paced conversation. Don't want to miss out anything. You don't want to confuse anybody. And you have to unpack a lot, because there's a lot of discussions already out there about those things that you got to kind of survey and see what's what, All right. So, and I think that this is a bit of it, the headrest. And this is a very good one, good picture that you're showing right now. Hold up, I think.
Yeah, I thought you would pretty much enjoy this a little bit more, because it's like with the different things going on this particular one, where you have Shu holding up the headrest, and then you have the two lions facing east and west, and then you have protection going on the side. You have the glyphs for protection for Shah, but then with with Shu holding up Newt, kind of like we've seen that before. So there's a lot of things that going on this particular headdress that tells a lot, that I thought you might, probably there's more that you could you could expound on that one maybe on a different time. But yeah, this particular one had a lot going on that was very interesting. So like with the east and west, like the sun setting in the right, the west, and then rising in the east, and then you have the head, which looks like the sun and raising and all that kind of stuff, and then the sky with Shu holding it up.
Well, what's the comparison to what you're showing on the screen right here, and then there's a vignette in the so-called Book of the Dead, where you have the Aket, the sun disk in the middle of two hills, and then you have two feline. I'm not sure if I'm going from my memory, leopard or lions, facing in one direction and the other, representing yesterday and tomorrow.
Yeah, interesting. I didn't even think of that one, but yeah, we do have that.
Yeah, so that's something something to discuss and elaborate on. What's going on with that? Because you had on the screen the three words. You had Aket there, and we have Aket in the vignettes with the two lions facing two opposite directions, representing, in the future and the past. So
Read that.
Hmm?
I said maybe we should pull that up, and I guess maybe Friday or today, it don't matter. And maybe we should read it.
Okay, so all right, so maybe if anybody else has questions or something to share in the meantime, like while you all are speaking, let me see if I have it, quick enough to pull it up, or we can talk about it. Now, hold up, go back. Wait. Go back to oh yeah, you stopped sharing.
Okay.
No, I was just asking if you stop. Okay. No, to
You
the
see?
woman who was sleeping, laying down.
Okay.
I know you mentioned this, but this now go to front view. That's the back and the front. So now check this out. This is very interesting because now I guess the women on the panel and the audience and whatnot will be able to test this. When women women I know, when they spend like $100 on a hairdo, on a hairstyle, you best believe that is how they're gonna sleep at night. They're gonna sleep with their hair wrapped up.
Yep.
Oh man.
Yep.
Facts. That's so true.
They're gonna sleep with their hair wrapped up, sitting up vertical, nothing touching their hair. So, but check her out. She is actually sleeping. Now think about that though. I mean, now this is a carving and everything, but that hairstyle, that hair must be pretty hard if it's gonna hold that head up and everything.
But yeah, I mean, and that's pretty much what even the men that were using it for, making sure that their hairdo was straight and stayed put for a long time. So
Yeah, is that comfortable? Because look at the neck.
well, yeah. So I was thinking about it, and I was like, well, if you had to pick between sleeping just on a mat on the ground, all flat, like everything on the same plane, or that one, I don't know.
No.
So
So whatever I sleep on has to be kind of soft. That looks hard. I don't.
yeah, but yeah, that is true. I mean, that's what we used to. But hey, maybe that's what gave back to pillows nowadays. So who knows? You know, started with the headrest. Now we're here.
Yeah, the headrest. But that's interesting. I just wanted you to go back to that one because that reminds me, that's modern right there. That's modern. That's even, like I said, I've seen people fall asleep sitting up because they didn't want to mess up their hair. You think about it, you spend $150 for a hairstyle, you better believe you're gonna sleep all kinds of ways to preserve it as long as you can. Yep. See, the fellas, we don't have to worry about any of that. Just wake up, get a brush, and go. Now you got the do-rags. Everybody got to put a do-rag on to get the waves and everything. You try to keep the waves going on. Wake up, you take the do-rag off. You got this ring around your forehead from when you tied the do-rag too tight. And it lasts until lunchtime. Like you see people go to work with a line across their forehead. You know that they wore a do-rag all night. And it don't go away until like 4 p.m. 4 in the afternoon after it starts wearing away. Anyway, I'm looking for the vignette that I was speaking about. And here it is. It is in. So look, if you have the so-called Egyptian Book of the Dead of Ani. Ani is pretty much the most popular one because it's available for free. It's on PDF. It's one of the ones that Budge published and everything like that. But if you have that, the Book of the Dead of Ani, it is actually plate number 7. Okay. It is chapter 17, or utterance spell, they say 17, chapter 17, but it's plate 7. So those are 2 references where you can focus in on it. But in there you have the scene that I was talking about. So you have the sun disk, you have the 2 hills, you have the pet symbol of the sky, and you have 2 lions that look like leopards. All right. And so you have Seth and you have Dua. All right, Duau Seth. And so yeah, that's just interesting. So it's chapter 7.
Okay, yeah, that's a good one. We'll definitely need to go more into that.
So you have tomorrow and yesterday. Interesting.
Yeah, it is. I actually have an Abju wear shirt that's got the sun and the mountain. I think it was like Ahet was horizon. Was that right?
Akhet.
Yeah.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Okay. And then like it had the 2 lines on it. So I got a shirt like that.
Yeah, I'm just gonna see if I can find it to share on the screen though. So while we're talking about it, in the meantime, like I said, if you're in the chat, first of all, welcome. Appreciate you tuning in. If you got any questions, if you want to join the panel, the link is is pinned. Or you got a question about the presentation information or anything else. It's 10:30. We got at the very least we got 30 minutes. All right, we can keep on keeping on for 30 minutes. But in the meantime, let me see if I can get a picture.
What plate did you say it was?
Plate 7.
Plate 7, okay.
So, nothing from the panel, nothing from nothing, huh? Okay. So you're gonna make okay, here it is right here. So let's see if it's a big enough picture.
Yeah, I was about to share. Just came across it real quick.
Oh, you did?
But while you're doing that, hopefully people have realized that the Sesh is actually coming out of the horizon described on your picture.
Yeah. See, you gave away the secret. You weren't supposed to tell anybody that. It's like one of the secrets of the universe.
Oh. It's like those ones like hidden in plain sight.
Let me say something about that though. People may or may not know about the horizon or Akhet. Like what makes it so special? Let me start by asking that. What makes the horizon so special? Why the focus on the horizon? What's up with that?
Maybe a representation of like starting over or coming new.
Okay. That's one way of looking at it. Anybody else? Anything else?
Is it a transitional zone?
Okay, that's very good. Very good. Transitional zone is very good. But okay, let's look at some of the meanings of Akhet. I mean, Akhet obviously is translated as horizon, but what else? Because that's kind of like the blanket translation for that. That's that like one all translation. Anybody have any other ideas? And actually, let me crank up my trusty whiteboard here. No, nobody, no takers, huh?
What, in terms of another translation of the word, or?
Yeah, or like I said, horizon is pretty much the general blanket translation. What's some other words that are associated with that? I can't to kind of elaborate on the meaning. What would give more substance to that?
But doesn't alone mean perfected spirit or magnificent spirit, something like that?
Okay, yep.
The union of the Ka and the Ba together come to form the, I'm reaching a little bit, come to form the Ah.
Okay.
Interesting.
What's the word? Okay, well, what's the word for ancestor? What's a word for
Ak.
ancestor?
Uh,
Ak.
Ak.
yeah.
Okay, so there's a word ak for ancestor, aku ancestors. Ak to be efficacious or effective. The word ak to be effective, right? And so the ancestors are the effective ones. They give and they affect, you know, the living. And that's part of what the belief is even today, where people believe that the deceased ancestors will affect the lives of the living. And so people tend to, who believe that, will try to appease the ancestors so that the ancestors can affect them favorably. Okay. And so where do the ancestors reside? Are they just floating around in random places, like in a corner somewhere and stuff like that? Or do they have an abode where they live, where they dwell? And I'm speaking even in the concepts of the belief. Where are they? In Christianity, they have an abode where the ancestors live. Now they don't invoke the word ancestor when they speak about it in Christianity or the Abrahamic systems, but the dead, they live in they go to heaven. They go to a place called heaven, or they will go to a place called heaven once they're resurrected. The day of judgment, the day of resurrection, and so on and so forth. But in the belief of ancestors and ancestral veneration and stuff like that, where do the ancestors live? Where do they dwell? You know, there has to be some kind of place where ancestors be, right? So anyway, um, I asked that question because the you know those concepts come out of a natural phenomenon, just like many other things and many other concepts come from certain realities. You know, um, certain realities that that were observed in ancient past were documented and preserved orally and transmitted from generation to generation, elaborated on, and using technology that today we call figurative expressions and so on and so forth, to where it's inherited today, and it may not be um, unpacked properly. And for those who don't know what I'm talking about, there's been many experiments in high school, junior high school, elementary school, and all across the world all the time. You see it on YouTube where they'll do an experiment. They'll line up a bunch of people, and then the first person in line is told a story in their ear. They're whispered a story in their ear, a short little story. And then that person has to pass it to the next person, and then that person to the next, to the next, to the next, to the next. And by the time you get to the end of the line and it goes through 30 people, the story completely changed from what was originally said to the first person. And you can see these experiments done all the time. And I've participated in them. I remember being part of them, you know. And the point of that is that over time, the details and the precision is lost. It starts to melt away, it starts to evaporate. The precision and details start to evaporate over time. And like I said, we see that. So over time, the realities that were observed and documented originally through time may have lost some of its precision. And so it develops into beliefs that we see today and that we can observe people believing in today. All right. So anyway, I say all of that to say that the observation about the horizon is that we know now um for sure, like we know, you know, with 100% confident that the earth is not flat. The earth is oval or some kind of spherical shape. And as far as the eye can see while standing on the earth, we have a horizon where there's a cutoff point. There's a cutoff point way out in the distance from wherever you are standing, especially if you don't live in a city without a cityscape. If you live in a very wide open area, or if you're in the ocean, middle of the ocean, you see it even better, or the best probably. But anyway, the point is that from the sky to the earth, there's a line, there's a cutoff point, and we call that the horizon. And even in astrophysics, they have what's called the event horizon, where something goes below the level of detection. That's the event horizon. Bam. And they talk about that around black holes, mainly, if you're familiar with that. But anyway, so back on Earth. So this horizon, what we experienced is day and night. So when the sun rises in the morning, the sky actually illuminates before the sun becomes visual. Okay. So the sky starts to brighten up prior to us actually seeing the physical ball of the sun. And so when you observe that, the sun is causing an effect on the sky without being seen. So it's invisible, but yet it's affecting what is visible, which is the sky. And so the concept of dead people who are invisible affecting the living is the same concept. You can't see it, but yet you can see the consequence or the results of it affecting. Same thing with wind. You can't see air or wind, but you can see the results of it or its impact on different objects. Something light, where you see it floating in the air, but you don't see the air itself, or you blow on something, you see the result of you blowing, but you don't see the air itself. And that is what a spirit is in the language, the Latin language. Spiritus is wind or breath, spiritus. And so Ak is often translated as what? Spirit. So you have this wind concept, this invisible but yet effective or effective, unseen thing that can affect seen things. So the unseen is affecting seen. So anyway, back to the sun. So the sun affects the visible sky before seeing the actual sun. And so this place called, we call the horizon today, but it was called the Aket. This place of the Ak, or that which is effective, is this zone where invisible things exist, but yet they are effective on that which is visible. All right, so y'all get that? So the place of the ancestors, or this horizon area, is the place of effectiveness. And so you have this constant theme of being efficacious, but yet unseen. And that's exactly how deceased ancestors are described. You can't see them, but they're supposed to be able to affect your life. And so they're the Aku, Aket, Ak, and so on. All right. So anyway, I just wanted to kind of share that a little bit right there.
That's very interesting.
All right. So hopefully everyone understands that.
Yes,
Now
sir.
that's
Is
what
it-
we can observe again. And then reverse happens when the sun sets. When the sun sets, the sun disappears, but yet it is still affecting things that we could see. We call it dusk and dawn. At those periods of time, dusk and dawn, when the sun is setting And we have, nice pretty paintings where the sun is setting in the ocean, look like it's going under the ocean, but yet it can disappear, but the sky is still illuminated. Usually kind of this orangish color, not this distinct color. So it's interesting. Yep. So anyway, I just wanted to say that while I was trying to share. Any other questions, comments? Because I'm going to see if I can share this, what I was talking about before. Yes, no, maybe so.
Not at the moment.
Okay. I don't want to miss out on the comments either. But let me just share this on my screen. And on Zoom, I lock it in so nobody will miss it. Spot like this. All right. So this is what I was speaking about earlier. Plate number 7 in the Rauniu Peret Emheru of Ani, the so-called Book of the Dead of Ani. All right, this is plate 7 or chapter 17, where in the vignette at the top, you'll see the horizon or Aket, the sun disk with the 2 hills, and then the feline Seth and Duau. Let me see if I get my cursor over here and my trusty arrow. I'm speaking about here. So you see pet, you see the sky, you see the glyph that's used for the logograph for the word Aket. And then we have Seth, Duau. All right. So how many of y'all have seen this before?
First time.
First time? Okay.
I've seen it floating
Um,
around Facebook.
I've seen it before. I think I have.
Before? Okay. Nice. All right. So I'm gonna call on, well, I'm not gonna call anybody, but somebody on the panel though. Let's see if we can find the word. Okay, now we see this word here. I'm pointing directly to it, duau, and on the other side we see Seth. But let's see who could scan the text actually beneath them and see where those things are being mentioned or talked about.
Oh, what things?
Huh?
What things? Duau and Seth?
This part of the vignette. So you got all this stuff going on. Then we have the text to go with them. And you know what we always say, that you can never divorce the text from the vignette. So obviously this text is speaking about and something, and this is the illustration for that something. So I'm saying in this point here, as far as what I've been pointing to, where in the text do we find anything that's relevant to that?
I'm gonna need my magnifying glass, but that is too small for me.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's true. Yeah, I apologize for that. Let me see. Well, if
Can
I
you share your screen?
say it again.
Can you share your screen, like enlarge it, like how the presentation was? Because right now I'm looking at everybody's, faces and all that other stuff.
I think if he enlarged it, it won't show the whole thing anyway.
I think you need to pin pin Wujao. Like if you see Wujao and then the box with Wujao's name, then there's 3 dots. If you click on that and then pin that video, if that's what you mean. If you're seeing everybody else's face.
You can change your view to full screen if you need to.
Yeah, I mean, I got my phone sideways, and like some of the glyphs are still kind of small. Let's see. I mean, you can like zoom at least like 20%.
Well, I can increase it. It's just that I was showing the whole thing, and um I don't know. Well, it may be too small for everyone. Said Anita.
Yeah, I have it on my TV. I could go to my TV and look. Still,
Okay, well, let me
come
ask.
on, chat.
Let me ask. Let me ask you all this. Where's the beginning of the text? Well, first of all, let's do this. Step one is to identify the direction in which the glyphs are to be read. So, what would we say about that?
You look in the direction.
Okay, I'm gonna ask a separate question.
Right to left.
Right to left. Okay. Why?
Because the glyphs have to be facing forward.
Yeah, but this is retrograde though, right?
Yeah.
This is reading over here from the left, going to the right. Looks like
From HTM.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay. Yes. Well, that's what why I asked. So remember, and this is to really clarify the direction and orientation. And I say this a lot, but sometimes it doesn't stick, right? And we always read into the glyphs. So it's as if we're having a conversation with the glyphs. So we're always going to face the glyphs, whether they're in columns or rows. But now, so that's always true. But now the order in which you read the columns, now that depends on whether it's retrograde, which means against the grain, or normal, which is going to be forward. So at the start, the average person is going to look at this, and because the glyphs are facing to the right, which means you're going to read them from right to left, they're going to think that you start over here in the far right column, but that's not true. So the technical term for this is really columnar retrograde, not just retrograde. Retrograde means backwards, going against, but this is columnar retrograde, which means that the column order is retrograde, but not the glyphs within the column. So you're still going to read the glyphs in each column from right to left, which is this direction. You're going to read into them while you're in the column, but in terms of the column order, you're going to go against the grain. So you're going this direction. Okay, and that's what we call columnar retrograde. So I just want to make sure everybody understands that columnar retrograde. But that's correct. So this is the beginning. This is the very beginning here. Okay, so now that we know where the beginning is, you can pretty much get a sense of when Dua'u and Seth are going to be kind of spoken of. And you should be able to see Seth on the screen. Now, it may be small, but you should be able to see it. You see Seth and Dua'u in the text. I'm not going to point exactly where, but I'm going to increase it. I'll cheat a little bit. I'll cheat for you all a little bit and bring it up.
You say what y'all?
Yes.
Question. When would you know when to start reading in retrograde?
Okay, yeah, that's a good question. That's really going to come from two things. One is just practice and experience, because you're going to run into this and then you're going to kind of get a feel for that. That's one. Two, the type of text that you're analyzing. And so columnar retrograde usually exists in the various different books of the dead, so-called books of the dead, the underworld text, and within the tomb. Because the idea behind it, though, let me just tell y'all the idea behind it is that this is an ancient way of motion picture, a movie. And so they want the reader to travel with the action of the text, of whatever the text is talking about. So for example, not in this plate, but in another plate of Annie, where you have the funerary procession of Annie, traveling from his house. He's being taken or carried from his house to his burial site. And there's a parade or a procession of people going from left to right. They're going in a right direction, rightward direction. And the text is column in a retrograde because they want you to read in the direction in which the procession is traveling. And likewise, in the tombs of the deceased, when you go into the tomb and you look at the underworld, various underworld texts, the Book of Gates, Book of Caverns, and all this other kind of stuff, you're going to be traveling from, east to south to west to north, and you're going to see the glyphs facing that direction that you're traveling, because that's the glyphs are traveling. But you're going to read it backwards. You're going to read columns backwards, which is we refer to as retrograde, but never the glyphs backwards though themselves. You don't read behind the glyphs.
Yeah,
Okay, so I hope that makes sense.
Yeah.
I see Seth, 2 places.
Okay.
Um,
Okay, I'm put the arrow here. So you just direct me, go
okay.
left, down, what?
Okay, right where you are, if you go to the column on the left,
Uh-huh.
yeah, there. So where it starts with
May I go down, up, down?
No, that column, down.
Yeah. Okay, tell me when to stop.
So
At the
keep
bottom.
going. It goes to Seth. So right after, no, go back up.
You passed it.
2 parts right there, Seth. So you have Seth and then Rec something. I don't see
Okay.
the rest of it.
Okay. So
The next one on the right too. So, I thought I saw Dua too. Yeah, where you are down there, where you are. Oh, that's Dua, yeah. But there was Seth on those 2 columns next to each other where you were before.
mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Seth here
Yes, it's Inek Seth. I am Seth.
and Seth here.
Yeah.
Now, say that again. What's that?
It says Inek Seth.
Mm-hmm.
I don't see what's below it, but it starts with something like, what is it? Poo, M, Weben, F, M, Ket, Yabetet, Pet, Inek, Seth, Rek. I don't see below it.
Okay. So what is this saying here? Seth Usir Poo. This for my grammar. This for my grammar folks.
It is
Seth Usir Poo. Uh-oh. What are we going? What are we doing? What are we doing?
Okay, I'll let Chris handle it. I think his mic was open too.
So Seth Wusir Poo. This is looks like a Poo form. He Wusir is tomorrow. Seth means what again? Yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
So I want to say, Seth Wusir Poo. Wusir is tomorrow.
How you say tomorrow? We just said Seth is yesterday.
Yep, you're right. Wusir is yesterday.
All right, right. There you go. Exactly. So that's good. So this whole point here, is saying Seth or yesterday is Usir. And then tomorrow is who?
Ra.
Ra.
Duo. Yeah.
Ra.
So yesterday is Osir or Osiris, but tomorrow is Ra.
Okay, so that's kind of like saying yesterday is gone, dead. I don't know. It's serious. Tomorrow is new day.
Where is it dawn?
So Wusir dies and goes into the earth, and then Ra rises out of the earth. Or I'm sorry, the horizon, from the horizon.
Must be a desk hours.
All right, so you see this direction? You have Seth and then Dua'u. Iabet. Dua'u, Seth, Amintet, or Amintit. All right. So yeah. Anything else anybody knows? I'm just pointing out a few things. Now I know we went from the headrest to this, but I wanted to just share about the horizon though. Aket. We have a deity who deals with the Aket, and that's what people pronounce as Harakti, but it's really Har M Aket. Har M Aket. Or Hermakis, as I guess the Greeks would pronounce it. Harimaket, but you have Rahar Aketi, which is Horakti, or Hor Ra Aketi, Horakti. It's different ways that people pronounce it, and you have Hor Aket, Har Im Aket, and so on. But Heru of the horizon. He's an horizoner, if we wanted to, instead of saying westerner, easterner, northerner, southerner, this will be a horizoner. Invent a new word, horizoner. But he of the horizon. A lot of people say Haraketi is Horus of the two horizons, but Aketi is really a masculine Nisbi singular. So it's really Har of the horizon. All right, so just want to kind of share a couple of those things. But anything else? And I mean, anybody in chatting? I see we have Phi Lightentist. Welcome everybody. I didn't give a shout out to Harry Morgan. Everything is everything. Sadiq A. Alexandra Davenport. Biasa Hotep. So Hotep to everyone. Hardy Maquette, yeah. The Sphinx. Let's see.
There's Never Jer too, right under your arrow. The enemies, his enemies, Never Jer.
Oh, let me get back to my arrow pointer. You said Nebuchadnezzar?
Mm-hmm.
Where? Oh,
right,
over here.
right
Oh
there.
yeah, nice. Yeah.
Nebuchadnezzar in his together as a ruler.
Kefet ni nu ne Nebuchadnezzar. Okay. We might have to translate this.
Yeah.
What it is, because it looked like it could be very interesting.
No, it is. It is interesting. It's very interesting. So we have Usir. Yesterday is Usir, and tomorrow is Ra. Then we have the word day, Heru. This is not Heru the deity. This is Heru the day. Okay. Pu again. And then what else do we have?
Can you scroll it up a bit?
You mean enlarge it?
Yeah, because I can see below. I don't know if there's more below.
Oh, up here?
Yeah.
Okay.
See Seh in Seh with the seed. I don't know what that is.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah, go ahead.
What's this word here?
Kefet. Kefetchi.
Uh-huh.
The enemy, your enemy, Kefet F.
Uh-huh.
And then Nu and then Nebuchadnezzar.
Right. The enemies of
The enemies of Nebuchadnezzar.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Okay, excellent. Anything else? Anybody that kind of sticks out to them? No?
Yeah, some of the grammar that we went over the other day. It's ours right here. There is EMF.
Uh-huh.
Mm-hmm.
What else?
Henna
Henna together with
Sehekwa. Oh, with her together. Henna S.
or it.
Or it. True to you. And Hekwa.
We have ruler,
This ruler.
Sa, his son, Heru.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And Kijed.
Another word for day, this day. We have a festival, the word festival, Heb. I'm just skipping around so people could follow along. With some keywords that we all should recognize. So this is like kind of like Freestyle Friday. So y'all getting a double treat, a presentation and a Freestyle Friday, all rolled up into one.
Netcher Hefet.
I'm sorry, say it again.
On the next column, we see Netcheru, and then Hefet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Wait, we skipped we went over here. We skipped the whole thing.
Okay. Oh, yeah.
Trying to name a few things in each column. So out of this column, what can we identify? We see Kares, which people say is Christ. Y'all, I know you all heard that. Right?
Yeah.
Kares Christ, but what does this actually mean? Kares.
Like a coffin?
Close.
Or burial?
Yes.
Burial.
Okay, nice.
Burial.
Burial. Oh, okay, no, something. Wasir, we see Wasir. We are familiar with that.
Sorry, say it again.
Wasir, sorry.
Yep, we have Wasir. Again, here. Yep.
Yeah, I can't make that next glyph out. Need to be closer.
It. Or some people say it's it.
His father, deaf.
His father, and then
Ra.
we have Ra. Exactly. All right.
And then it and Pooh.
He has made or something. Yes.
So let's pick out some things in this column. You already said Netcheru. We have the word. What's this word here? You should know that.
Wedge.
Yes, it means to command.
Wedge. Wedge E. Usir. Wedge E. Usir.
Arneb.
It's that right there.
He meant that. He meant that.
Pooh. M&T Pooh is what?
This west.
It is the west.
Oh, it is the west. It is.
Okay.
Res.
We have here.
Yeah.
That means something like who is he, right? This Peter RF or something like that.
Which part?
That part that's in red.
Oh, okay.
I notice is throughout Peter F. Wait.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
Puter or Peter.
Oh, Peter, like what?
This is the question. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
So back up. Imitate Pooh. If it was imitate Pooh by itself, we would say it is the west.
It is the west.
The one below, I don't know if it's Su or Emu. I'm not sure. It looks like either the cross or the Sioux plant.
Looks like Sioux.
Okay.
And that's Sioux. Him. Who is he?
And then Iminet.
The West. Is that a? Oh, it's Pooh again.
I don't want to leave the chat out of it, so let me just ask. I mean, y'all keep talking. I'm just making sure I'm not missing anybody. So, if I lighten this test, let me just read a couple of comments. I was explaining to some people yesterday about how the precession of the equinoxes disproves flat Earth on its face. Okay. Well, I hope that nobody's watching is a flat earther. I truly hope that, because not just because I say it, but at this point in time in 2021, I mean, I really think that that is a dead horse that doesn't deserve any more beating. I think that's truly beating a dead horse to talk about whether the earth is flat or not and things like that. I don't really even entertain those conversations, you know. He
I
also
got
said
it.
there are real, I'm sorry.
Now, I was gonna I had a question pertaining to how y'all reading right now.
Mhm.
I had a question for y'all, the grammar team. I wanted to know how do you know when a word ends and when a word begins? Like what what glyphs indicate when a word ends and begins?
Anybody want to
In the
answer?
sesh?
Yeah, in this yeah, in this
Okay, so usually things like determinatives will let you know. So you have determinatives, you also have suffix pronouns. These are things like you will see like where the horned viper is, sometimes not all the time, but just an example as if you say, let's see where we have one here. Did we have one where there was the horned viper? Yeah, but things like suffix pronouns will help you, and things like determinatives. Sometimes they're not there, so then you have to use familiarity. So those three ways. Being familiar with different word patterns, determinatives, and suffix pronouns.
So remember, that's part of the beginners. That's definitely what's drilled in at a beginner's study, a beginner's level,
yeah,
is
determinant.
are the determinatives, which are one of the tools that aid in knowing when a word ends and another one will begin. Definitely. And then understanding the grammar, like Emika was saying. Those are the two. And then the third, obviously, is through experience, because you're going to recognize patterns. And I could write several English sentences and remove the spaces in between the words, and you'll still be able to read them. Why? Because of the experience that you've gained with English as a language, and you've been reading it for so long. And so that's what will happen naturally. So you have two things in the script itself to help you, and then something not in the script, which is your very own experience, that will start to blend together and help to know where words end and where they begin. And then that will be the words itself. And then larger units of clauses, sentences, and so on, you'll be able to detect where those begin and end as well. Okay, so but all of that part, that's part of the grammar. So anything else anybody want to point out? Notice, I tried to click on the on the wrong thing. Let me just get my cursor back over here. Notice that you see this set of glyphs repeated here. You see it 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 over here. You see it down here. Y'all notice that repeating? Those are all questions. So those are all questions that are being asked and answered. The answer follows it. So the questions are in the red ink, and the answers are given after them. Okay, so somebody said it earlier. Basically, it's the word peter or peter. We say Peterenek. Peterenek is what's your name, but this is peter. And it's basically asking, what is it? And anybody else got anything want to point out? No? No? Wow. All right.
See the same ones that we went through.
So I said again.
You see, I'm just seeing the ones that we kind of already pointed out.
Okay.
I see Iwenu or Inu, Pella City with the 049, but I'll be skipping columns.
Where, I mean, in relation to where I am, where you at?
2 columns to the right. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, so this will be interesting to actually go over the whole thing, break it down, because there's a lot of things in here that people kind of talk about, but not really reference this text. And remember, in the tomb of Nefertari, right? There's a image of Osir joining with Ra. Does that ring a bell for anybody?
To you.
Let me see if I can pull that up real quick. I'm going to find it. And here it is. I just need to find a really good size image. Here we go. Nope, that's very small. Too small. I just want to find this quick. But yeah, there's an image. So if you all are not familiar with it, I'm going to find it for you. Just give me a second. And this looks like a bigger one, big enough to share. I'm going to save it and pull it up. Okay, I want everybody to see this. We're going to connect the dots here. Okay, this image everyone should be familiar with. I'm sure you've seen it somewhere, somehow. Can y'all see that on the screen?
See.
Okay. So this image right here is, and it's a big delay from YouTube to what we're dealing with in here. So in this image, this is the tomb of Nefertari. And so you're gonna see the word. So can anyone read that for us? Those words below or right in front of those two females. First of all, let's identify who's who. At the very let me get my curse. I'm gonna get my trusty arrow here. I'm gonna make it green. Okay, so who is this right here? What's that? Who's that?
Ra.
That's Ra, right?
Two.
Who is this young lady?
Nebethut.
Nebethut. Exactly. Who is this young lady?
Set.
Set. All right. Excellent. So we have Ra, Set, Nebethut, or Nephthys, as some people may say. So we're clear on that, right? But now let's read here. Let's read, I guess we could read this one first. What are these glyphs saying?
It is Ra.
Yes.
Ooh.
Hotep. Whisper.
Uh-huh.
Anything else below? I can't see below after that.
No, that's
okay.
it.
Okay.
Okay, so it is Ra. And what's the side?
We'll see it Hetep Ra.
Okay, so now what you're seeing here is the combination of Usir and Ra. But this Ra is in the form of what?
Ram.
Ram.
A ram. Yes. A ram. Now, what's interesting is that in the Duat, and I forget which hour, you have 12 gates, 12 hours. And I forget which one off the top of my head, but at one of the hours, you'll have the merging of Usir and Ra. And you're seeing this illustrated here. And in the text that we just left, I want to point out something here. So we have Ra. And let's see. Okay, so I know Ra. I know the great God. It is the great God. And then the question and explanation. So here it is, Usir. It is Usir. Then we have Ra. And we have the here. I want you to see. I just saw it. Okay, what is this here?
Ba. Bau.
Huh?
Bau.
Okay. And we have here.
Emanated.
Mm-hmm.
Pu. Nu. Pu again.
All right. Well, instead, okay. Well, let's get down to, because we have the words for fight. We could recognize these glyphs as fighting.
Yes.
But here I'm gonna get to this point. This part here.
Okay.
What is this word here?
Rek.
Mm-hmm.
And then
And what does it mean?
Rek, it's no.
Right. Okay.
Uh,
It's here.
Netcher.
Okay.
Poo. And I forget what the other one is. In or E. Im.
M and the last
S.
in it, right?
In it. Yeah.
Okay.
And
We
then
have
you go.
Netty. We know who, the word who.
Oh
Who
yeah, that was it was. Yes. Net. Who
is
is
in.
in it?
Okay. All right. So we got that. Then we have another question here. And Usir Pu. What does that mean?
It is Wisir.
Okay.
Yeah, those are not so clear. I can see something.
Okay. Yeah, I would have to blow it up better.
Head,
Yeah.
key, head, raw.
Okay. Okay. But you know what I saw that was interesting? If the other image that you just showed with the joining, because it had whatever. I think it was like Knum, and Knum is also like joiner or whatever. So that was another picture, because you were talking about Wisir and Ra joining off.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Who's here?
Ra.
Yeah.
Okay.
His name.
So we have key, key. What does key mean?
Is it like
Another or
other?
other, something
Yeah.
like that.
Yeah.
Right. Another. Okay. So normally we would translate it, by itself be another, but it would also be the word for otherwise. Another, otherwise, other or another or otherwise. And then we have Jed again, Cobra and the hand. And I know it's probably small, can't make it out. As a matter of fact, let me just do this real quick. Pardon me, I'm just trying to make it big so we can see this. All right, there we go. Now we just getting into it to here. All right. Okay, so that should be better for you, all right?
You.
Okay, so we have key, Jed, otherwise said. We have over here key, Jed, otherwise said. So notice the pattern. We have a question, an answer, and then otherwise said, and then more text. Question, answer, and then we have a otherwise again, key, Jed. You see that? So question, answer, then otherwise said, and then more text. Question, answer, and then otherwise more the word otherwise, and then some more text. So what this is doing is it's presenting a question, it's giving a very straight answer, and then elaboration. And so this is the pattern that we use to this very day. And this is something that I always advocate. When people ask questions in a more intellectual learning environment, you want to be succinct in your answer initially and then elaborate. But what happens, some people go the other way. Some people try to elaborate and then give a more straightforward answer. And that's harder to do because by the time you elaborate, you kind of go all over the place. And then sometimes the person walk away with feeling that you never answered their question. So that's why it's a good practice to give a straight answer as straight as you can and then elaborate. And that's exactly what's happening right here. Okay. So does everybody follow that? So you have the question, then you have an answer, and then elaboration, or otherwise said, and then it elaborates. Okay, so you see how it's done?
Yeah.
Somebody's is unmuted. But does everybody follow that?
2.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. So let's go back to where we were. Where were we? We were right. I'll move the cursor. Okay, so we were here. So here's the question here. And then the answer. So with the answer, Emike, you read it. What is it again? Usirpu. What does that mean?
It is Ra. And it is Wasir.
Okay.
Yes. Sorry.
You already blending them in your head. All right. Okay, so it is Usir. Otherwise said, Kijed, otherwise said. Now here's the elaboration. So now what? It is Usir. But now here's the explanation. So Ra, you see Ra here, right?
Mhm.
All right, so keep it going.
So Ra is his name.
Right.
Ra is his name. We have Henu.
And that could be met, or it could be, is that a determinative, the followers?
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Henu. Or
Okay.
is it?
Got an A pool B going on here.
Yeah, but is that?
Pu and Ra. Mm,
Yeah, but that phallus is it a determinative or is it by itself? I recognize Henu.
Yeah, I'm wondering if it's a determinative or what. What would you translate Hindu as?
Well, I know it can mean jar, but I don't think it means jar in this case.
Because if it's not a determinative, it'll probably be for the word emba or met, one of those two. But I don't know how that will work with Pu right after it.
Oh, wait, look down below. There it is again. You might be right. Go look down below. See, there it is again.
Okay.
So the, uh-oh. It is the phallus of Ra. Uh-oh, let me be quiet. Let me just. Mutpu in Ra Enek Mutef Emef. What is that? Emef. What's that glyph right below after Emef? I see a se. What is that little streak of line, that line between there?
Where?
Where are you?
Like come down right there where EMF is at. EMF.
EMF. Oh yeah.
What is that?
Right after
That
it.
streak, that line after F, after the horned viper.
Hmm.
I see se. I don't know what is that. That's E. I see some EMF.
Well, we know this is Inuk.
It could be the horn the cobra and repose, and then the Z sign. Don't know whatever.
Joseph.
Just yeah, just
Yes.
Okay.
as itself or something.
Mm-hmm. Two. EMF Joseph. That's probably what it is.
All right. See, this is a good freestyle.
Yeah, it's good. Right? Oh, I am the Bennu bird. There go the Bennu.
Okay, now we see the Bennu bird right here.
Right there. Yeah.
Okay. Bennu. We see the name right here, Bennu. The bird is here. And so now we finally get to the mention of the Bennu bird as you have it. We put it back to where we were.
Inuki Bennu.
And we were right here. So Inek, Benu, and then we have the determinative for it. Pu. I am the Benu. We have Neti again.
Who is in, which is in.
We have Inu Heliopolis or Inu.
Idek. Iri.
Mm-hmm.
I am, but what's that? The guardian. I am the that's guardian here, right? I mean guardian here. Or
Yeah, Iri. Uh-huh.
Yes. I don't know what that glyph is on the back right there, or the back of the seated man. Yeah. Well, yes.
It's like a reed leaf.
Man, it does like a reed leaf. Yes. What was that? Oh no. That's the papyrus roll, right?
Would make more sense here.
Yeah, I think that's the papyrus roll. Yeah.
And then EDS.
I am the guardian of it, something.
And then Ipu. I don't know what Ipu is though.
It's probably some archaic way of saying this is something, Ipu or.
Yeah, when in there, where you have the arrow. When in Pu. Chu.
Oh, it starts over again right there. That's another starting with a question. Peter, because the rest of it is in the next column.
Yeah.
So that's Peter again. So it ends at winning. Who's yeah, it's winning. Which is in winning. I don't quite understand that one. That which is.
Yeah. Definitely need to go in the dictionary on that one.
Yeah, that's it winning. I am the guardian of it, of this.
Can you move this out the way? Where are you?
Yeah, we stopped at winning. I was trying to figure that out, but I mean, I guess we can move on. But right, because we have Inuki, Iri, S, Ipu, Neti, winning. I don't know what that winning is. Who is? Yeah, I don't know what that is.
Okay. Well, for the sake of time, let's keep it moving. I'm gonna slide this over a bit, and let's go with what is this? What do y'all recognize this as again?
Yep, that's Peter or Puter.
Uh huh.
Su.
They shorten it to Peter, but okay, and then we have what?
It is Wusir.
But what is it saying? Peter Su, right?
Mm-hmm.
So who is he?
Who's he?
And then he is, or it is Usir. It is Osiris, or it is Usir.
Mm-hmm.
Otherwise said, and then we get to the elaboration. So let's try to bust this down a little bit.
Yeah. Oh wow, yeah, I don't know what that is. I want to say it's the fish, who fish. I don't know.
Yeah, not sure if it's like Ekha or how it translates, but yeah, hat.
Oh yeah, correct. Because there's a lump of flesh there in the burial, the embalming bed. Looks like the embalming bed right there.
His body,
Khat.
F, yeah.
Got F.
Ooh.
Poo.
That makes sense. It is his body, or it is his flesh, I guess.
Right. Khat would be, in this case, would be the dead, deceased flesh or deceased body, or we would simply say a corpse.
Yeah, because you see the determinative, and that's like, what is it called? Like something oozing out, whatever. That's what they use it for.
The lump of flesh, yeah. Pustule.
Okay, and we have another. What was this? Kijet.
Otherwise said.
Otherwise said. So we got a double elaboration. All right, let's keep on going. We have ear.
Sata.
Oh, Satat. Satat.
I don't know what that is there before the man injuring himself.
Yes.
Yeah, I don't know what that means though.
Sitapet. F. So those are two determinatives, right? The lump of flesh, and then the man holding something in his hand. Yeah, we got to get back to that.
I think that's what mine like hits himself on the head or cuts himself, something negative anyway.
That is
what negative that is.
Oh, there it is again. Ir in netet, winning.
Oh yeah, that's it. Okay.
Winning, popping again.
Cut.
Or ir in netet, winning. And then there's the corpse again, the chet. It is the corpse, chetet pu.
And then otherwise again.
Otherwise said.
Okay.
What kind of bird is that? That's the
I'm thinking it's the nehe part just because I see nehe down there, so it's the neh.
Yep, nehe. It is. Yep, there the nehe pu. Nehe pu.
And then henna.
And
Jet.
eternity.
Eternity, yeah.
That makes sense. Yep. Nehe pu. Henna jed.
All right. So yeah, so far so good. What does it mean though? Nahipu henna jet.
Nehi is eternity. Oh, could be maybe not in this instance, but nehi would be like eternity.
Okay.
And then jet would be forever, eternity. Yeah, same thing, but in a different perspective. So
Okay.
it's eternity together with forever.
All right. All right, keep it going real quick. We definitely gone over
Air,
time.
nehi.
Air nehi again. Okay. Air nehi pu.
Heru.
What does that mean though? It goes a little slower. What does that mean? Air nehi.
It is as eternity or something, or it is. It is as ir nehi pu.
Not sure about that. but the air part.
Should
We
be
have an
some-
we have an A pool B. So remember, and this is, this is like the application of the grammar points that we all should be familiar with, when we do this. But freestyling, it will be challenging. But if you sat down and do it, you'll be able to pick up on it. So it's equating eternity or Nehi with Heru, the
Mhm.
day,
April
A
B.
pool B.
Mm.
Eternity is day. And then
And that particle ear, how is that being translated? Real quick.
here,
Mhm.
this is more so in this arrangement. This is more so as for eternity, it is day.
You.
Okay, that helps.
That's for.
And another one, ear, as for this eternity, as for what we say eternity, and what we give jet forever.
You.
So as for forever, poo, and notice how they switched up because of the space. It is what? Gere.
Night.
So one is day and the other one is night.
Okay.
Then we have Inek again. Inek. And what do we have here? That's pretty hard to make out on this one. It's blurry now.
Yeah, I think the scribe had some beer when he was writing that.
So we have M, Per,
Peru.
UF.
Perut F,
Eu.
Go ahead.
Ra. Ani.
So I am something. So Inek, and then whatever this is, we can't make it out on the screen. And then what?
As it goes or comes forth?
Yeah. Then we
As
have
it
M
is
Peret.
going forth.
Okay. N. What's the season of Peret? What is that? Season of what? Not that this is a season, but I'm saying Peret in the season. Haket, Peret, Shamu. What is Peret?
Yeah, I
Flooding
forgot
is
what this is.
Season of emergence. So in
Oh,
his
yeah.
emergence.
I mean, yeah, imagine, correct.
Okay. All right, and hit up his emergence.
Ura and E.
You. Then we have ready.
Ready.
Give, given, has given, or placed, or
I have placed. What is that at the bottom?
yeah, I can see it.
Okay. Yeah, it's blurry. But up here you see the determinative for this, right?
Oh, okay. So Shuti.
Okay, right. But what? Yeah. We have M or F. Yeah, Shuti F. M Tep.
On his atop his head or something. I have placed the Shuti Shuti
On his head.
head. Oh, then it ends again.
We have another question.
Mm-hmm.
All right. What else? And whatever this is
Yeah,
the same as this right here.
yeah, it's not so clear. though. So
Right, that's what I'm saying. This picture, you know, I grabbed this quick, and it's not a good quality. It's a small picture. I had to blow it up so it's blurry. And so we would have to look at a better picture, but we know that this is a we know over here is a person. So the question is asked and it's given an answer. So as for this person, then we have what? What's this bird? That's a little distinct.
The Heru.
Yes. Then we have Pooh.
It is Heru.
And then what do we have right here?
Inej
I can
hair.
see the bar.
Yep.
Mhm.
Oh, okay. Show your face or something like that. Yeah.
Edge.
Yeah.
Hair. Eat.
It
Father.
with the F at the bottom. Yeah.
Okay.
Somebody's
But
mic is
it's blending something.
feedback.
Fruit.
Somebody's mic is open.
Who's that? Okay, there we go. All right. So what is that? What does all that translate to?
So it is Heru. Hail to his father.
Yeah. Something like that.
Yeah. As for whatever that is, that standard, that guy asked for something.
Now, Nedge, what you said? Say it again. I'm sorry. Just say this part. What was that one?
Inej hair itef.
Okay, what does that mean?
I mean, you know, the look, hail to his father, or
Okay.
or Inej could also mean Nedge. I can't remember right now. But I know, I guess the rough translation, I guess, is hail to.
You need to say hail, but it's like, yeah.
Hail to his father, or
Now,
respect his face, or something like that.
Now, Inej or Nej Kheret, when people say Nej Kheret,
Oh, that would be the one for
it's different. Inej.
hair.
You gotta keep that in mind.
Yeah. Do
Oh
for
wait, I
that.
missed this. Wait,
I mix
say
it.
it
I
again.
usually mix.
I'm saying you have Inej and then Nej. They're two different things.
Okay, but this one is Inej, right?
This would be the one you said about hail, I think.
This is Nej, not Inej.
Netch.
Nedge hair itef.
So Nej is protection upon his father.
Oh, okay.
Deals with protection, safety.
Mm-hmm. And then something with his emergence.
Again. Yep.
And then Monsieur F.
Yep.
Pooh. Is it his path? His.
Then
It
it starts.
Mm-hmm. Mika, help us out here. She's like, shoot, I am not unmuting my mic right now. Mika probably passed out. I'm missing the chat.
Yeah, ear. Is that shoe? Ear? No, shuti again. Yeah, ear shuti F. Dep F.
Placed upon his head.
And then we have shemet.
A set.
The going out, the going forth of a set.
Together with Nabet Hood.
Okay. All right. So y'all on the roll. Let me get my cursor caught up to where you are. So, okay. And who else?
Together with Nebet Hut.
A D and S.
But they have what placed, or they have given?
Ready in S.
Su it.
Hmm.
That's yeah. Su.
Ready in actually ready in not ready in S. Ready what?
Then
Ready in sin.
they have, okay, and
Yeah,
sense. So they have placed it. So
yeah, they have given it heret. Su. Is that the face at the bottom? Looks like hair. Oh yeah, I think it's
I don't see after Sue.
I gotta move it over a bit. All right, I think we're on the edge there. Okay.
Where you have your arrow, I can't see, but I think that's my screen.
yeah. It should be Su have given it heret.
Okay.
Whatever that little the tadpole. What that's supposed to be? Heret. Step F.
Okay.
And we have when in sin.
And then, yeah. And
When
sun.
sin.
And sun. Jared to Jared to
Jeretu.
is a double T, so Jared to
And a double, wow, double bird. Jeretet.
So you have Winninsen M. Geretti.
okay, so that's where you have a doubling of whatever. Okay, for the dual. Right.
The key again.
Yeah, we can hear you.
No, go ahead. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Okay. Now, so let's just end here because we can actually do the rest of this from the beginning, though. We preferably from the beginning on Friday. Because this is interesting because this is a call and response answer. It's a question, a succinct answer, and a further elaboration. And you see how it's done. So we have these questions here in the form of so we have Peter. We have I'll point to this one. Peter, and then we have Ref Su. Peter Ref Su. Now the fuller form is Pu Tier Ref Su, but it's often just shortened to Peter Ref Su, which is the question. You just know it's a question, and depending on the context, it'll be who or what, whom or what. And then Su would be he or it, etc. Who is it? What is it? Etc. And then there's an answer given. An answer is given in usually a APU form because it's just flat out making a statement. And then Kijed, which will be otherwise said, or we can now I know there's no such word as idiomize, but I like to use it because it's to take something and turn it into an idiom or shorten it for us. And so literally this will be otherwise said, but it actually means so it's like asking me a question and I give you a short answer and I say, well, what that means is, and then I further elaborate. Instead of saying otherwise said, it's like, okay, to further elaborate, or what I mean is, and then so on and so forth, or it means, all right. So that's what that is. And then you have a further elaboration. Sometimes it goes 2 and 3 levels down. So like, for example, you have the question here. We have Pu Tier Ref Su, which is the question. Then we have a very short answer, and then otherwise said, and then another otherwise said, and then another otherwise said, before you get a full question again. So this is elaboration on elaboration to break it down. So today we say, break it down, break it down. Well, let me break it down for you. All right. And sometimes it's not a breakdown. And see, these are the little things. Okay, so first of all, the style in which this dialogue is going, or this text is going, one, it shows a question being asked, a very direct answer, and then an elaboration. And in the elaboration, there are different ways to elaborate. And that's how we advise people to teach today. You get a question asked of you, you try to be as direct as you can with the answer, and then elaborate. And then while you elaborate, you set up analogies or you set up examples. And so you say, well, to explain another way, blah, 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 blah. And then if that don't sink in or burn into your mind, then let me explain it this way. And then you may give two examples or analogies of what it is that you're saying. And that's what we're seeing here. Okay, that's what we're seeing here. Because if you read what it's actually saying, now, like I said, off the top, I don't. This looks like this is like a funny. This is blurry, so I
It looks
can't.
like a carry standard.
Oh, what? Say it again.
I guess they call it a standard, like a carrying standard.
Yeah, standard. Yeah, yeah. But we see the deity as as a determinative, and plus it's inuk, so it's saying it's somebody, and so whatever this is, but um, you can see it's further elaborated on. So it's somebody in his emergence, and then during a win, the double plume or Shuti double plume crown was placed on his head. And then another question. Sue, well, what is that? The question is asked, well, what is that? And then it's saying that this person is Heru. And not only does the person Heru, but the person is Heru when he's Nej Her Itf, when he's defending his father. So this notion of defending his father, that's what this person represents. But this person is when you go back, it's saying I am this person. I'm this person when the double plumes placed on, the head. And then, well, what is that? Then it's this person is Heru when he is defending defending his father. And then it goes on to further say emergence, his emergence has to do with birth. And then you have again the double plume on his head. All right. Then over here we had Peret M. Now instead of Peret M Heru, we have Peret M Osset Hena Nebet Hut. So his emergence.
Met.
Or to go forth, his going forth. His going forth with Osset together with Nebet Hut. And then you have where y'all were. I think this is where you all were. No, you all came over here, right? We had Jerti as well. Now we know Jerti. Now, if you don't know that Jerti is one of the epithets of Osset and Nebet Hut together. And they're known as the two kites. Jerti they translate it as the two kites. Okay. So just wanted to, so you all understand that. We have the weird bird, which is dealing with something negative.
Is that like the kite, like a kite? Right, kite?
Huh?
Or is that when you say kite, the two kites is like the kite we see, the nades, or what? What does that translate to?
No. They weren't kites like we see today, but that's what they usually translate that as kites, something that flies.
Okay. Okay. Gotcha.
Remember, Set as a kite landed on Usir in order to give birth Peru. So these
Okay.
are birds, all right? Not the kite with the string on it. He have a bunch of children
Yeah, I was like wondering how did you try? What concept did I get from that one?
flying around Set Nebet Hood.
I have a question.
Yes.
So are the questions always written in red? Is that like a normal thing? Is that a practice?
Well, no, the questions are not always written in red, but in this sense, it's important. You know, the important part they call it rubark in these different texts, where this sticks out and it's put in red. But questions in and of themselves are not always written in red. No. All right. So, I'll just make sure I'm keeping up with the chat. Firelighten test, it says Peret M offset. What does that mean? No, it's the proceeding. It's like the emerging or going forth.
I think that's actually Shem for go.
Yeah, Shemet.
Oh yeah, I said Peret. I'm sorry. Yes, that's absolutely correct. Which means to go. When we say Shem M Hotep, we're saying go in peace. And so again, this is the going, or even the going to go of Offset and Nevitus or Nebithut. And where'd you leave off here? You got down here, and what was it?
Su.
We have ready, sin, ready and sin.
And Su Heret.
Now, ready, the word ready means to give, but it also means to put or to place. All right, so keep that in mind.
Su
Suher,
Heret.
Right. Tap F.
Placed. Heret. What kind of determinative is that after Heret?
you call it the little squirrely thing or something, right?
Tadpole. Tadpole determinative.
It looked like a tadpole.
Yeah, we would have to get a better
Yeah. But since it's a determinative, yeah. So we should take the rest and see. I think it's only those two columns left, really, right?
Yeah, we didn't do the beginning. So we could revisit this Friday. So look, it's 12 o'clock. So I want to entertain any questions that was in the chat. So listen, so for those who are tuned in right now, you stumbled across the latter part of, like, we went into a little freestyle with this, and how this came up. I'm gonna work my way backwards. So we were just kind of freestyling on this. But how this came up was I was showing, matter of fact, let me move this so you can see the whole point of me showing this. I actually brought this up to show the sun disk, the two hills, which is together the word Arket, with the pet glyph for the word sky. And then we have yesterday and tomorrow. So we have Seth and Duau. Okay. And so this kind of connects to what Emicat showed earlier with the headrest. And you had the feline animals pointing in two different directions, with the headrest itself in the shape of Aket being held up by a deity, Shu. And so that's interesting. And then on the words that she had on one of the other slides, we had res, resut, and then what was the third one? Aket.
Yeah, Aket, and it actually comes from the same papyrus as well, with, showing the word horizon, wake to the horizon. Yeah, but it was Aket.
Okay, right. So that's how this came up. And then, the freestyling part came when I asked, let's point out the word Seth and Duau in the text itself. And so that's how it started. So we see Seth right here. We see Seth right here. And up here we have Duau. And over here we have Duau. All right. So that's how it kicked off. So just kind of get everybody caught up on why we even came to this point. But
that's crazy.
exactly. That's how these conversations go. That's why I say everything, a lot of these different topics deserve its own conversation, because, I could, we can do this and connect a lot of dots here. I'm just kind of not getting into it now, because I know if I open my mouth, we're going to be here another 2 hours. Okay. I'm just shrinking this back down. But there are things going on here. Now notice that what we just read is reflected or illustrated here. So we had the two kites. So you were asking about kites as far as flying, we see today. And so I said that the jerti are translated as kites. It's a dual form of kite, but it's a bird. And so you see Nebet Hut and you see Osset in the form of birds. And they're the two kites that are placed at the head and the feet of the deceased. Okay, so that's what they.
Yeah, because I went up and I was looking for the word kite, because obviously in my head I didn't, I was thinking of kite, but it could be kite for the birds, and that pretty much shows it, because you have the kite, like type of hawk or whatever, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah. All right. So the only thing you don't see here is the double plumed shuti on the head or in the vignette. But as anything else though, we coming at the hour. So anybody in the chat, Trick just said it's 10 o'clock somewhere else. So why we shutting it off? For that matter, it's 6 a.m. Now, what about that? Right now, it's 9:13 in California. I'm surprised June hasn't come through. Any questions
Probably
though?
still having a long birthday party.
Any questions? Any? Dasharab says, the name. Yeah. Headrests in Africa. Okay.
Yeah, I think he probably just walked in on the last part of the show. So
yeah, but I'm looking at the question. Would you like for me to tell you what, I guess it means Peret, means? And maybe then you could stop summarily dismissing a nisut. See, I don't see, I think the person needs to hang out on our channel a little bit longer to kind of blend in with the conversation, because here's the thing, the way that we have these conversations on this channel, and we've been doing it from day one. Like, you go into the archives, you'll see that this channel and our live sessions has a certain character and flavor about it. And what happens is people may come and stick out like a sore thumb because they must not be used to, the way things happen. At least here, we only do, control what we deal with on our channel or here. And sometimes things stick out like a sore thumb. And so, just got to be mindful of that. You know, the panel link is in the chat. So if somebody has something to say along the lines of what we're doing or want to add on for the benefit or not, click the link because, I'm trying to wrap it up. But, listen, if you, you know, want to flex a bit and want to, and I'm speaking to Deshareb specifically, tell us what Paret is as far as not just summarily dismissing and the soot. I really don't know where that came from at all because we didn't even mention the soot tonight at all.
I think he be having arguments with other people somewhere and then comes and vents on our channel about those arguments he having somewhere else.
Yeah, that's the only thing that I could think of because we didn't even read Nesut anywhere in this text. I don't even think you mentioned Nesut the entire night earlier. So it's just stuff like that sticks out. You know what I mean? But Paret, I don't even know why I'm saying Paret. But earlier, speaking of Peter, we were saying Pu Tir Refsu. That is a question. That's very, very common. That's very, very common. Judge of character. I like that. LOL. But I like that judge of character. So anything else? Anybody got anything? Man, see, that's what I'm saying. See, I'm hesitant about certain conversations. There's topics that I want to deal with a nice panel of people to have a nice conversation. And I get hesitant a little bit sometimes when I see different behaviors of different people. Because I'm telling you, that's why a lot of stuff that we don't talk about on these live sessions, we have private Zooms. And for y'all, I'm just gonna say this, in our Facebook group, join our Facebook group because in there, we may pop a link in there for a Zoom session that is not live on YouTube. So we have sessions outside of YouTube, live YouTube sessions. We have Zoom sessions just like this, but we're just in the Zoom. Okay. And so, and there's, the main reason of not going live on YouTube is because some things that's spoken of, you have to have a lot of things under your belt first to walk with the conversation. And so it's just better in, that way. But, it's not like it's off limits or secretive or anything like that. It's just, you got to kind of be up to speed on certain things that are discussed. And so some of the conversations I would like to have, you have to have some things under your belt. And I can, bring things up and elaborate, but you have to know certain things first. And it's nothing special. It's just that it is what it is. Like I can't talk about multiplication until after you already know addition and division, after you know about subtraction. So you have to get the basics, addition, subtraction, before you learn multiplication and division. And then you get to, geometry, calculus, calculus and these other math. But you have to have some things under your belt before you get to that. And so this is no different. Some of these topics are no different. Especially the topic of, we were talking about knowing the self consciousness, all that kind of stuff, the duat, ancestral veneration. What is the afterlife? Like I mentioned earlier, what is the afterlife? What does it really mean? What is immortality? What does it really mean? Like I explained earlier about Aket, the environment of efficacy, that which is invisible, but yet it affects that which is visible. And the sun does it every day. The sun, before it actually physically rises, where you can see the physical body of the sun, you see the effects of the sun by illuminating the morning sky. And it's not as bright and brilliant. It's a certain color in the morning And then when the body of the sun appears, the sky gets a different color and everything. And we all know that now by science is that the refraction of light in due to the atmosphere based on the angle of the sun when it's at the horizon, it produces the effect of being, this orange type of pretty color that people take pictures of all the time near the beach. But it's still the sun. The sun doesn't actually change colors. The sun is actually white in terms of the light that's coming from it. It's that refraction of light, the bending of the light through the atmosphere. But anyway, so all those kinds of things. But this text is interesting, chapter 17. So if you wanna do some homework on this, go to this is the Book of the Dead of Annie, chapter 17, or plate number, what I say? 7. Plate number 7. So read it, read up on it, read the translation if you need to, and check it out. Yep. But anything else? Yes, no, maybe so. That's it.
And
I think I got one little small question.
Yeah.
Because I remember y'all was reading like way earlier, and there's this one glyph that came to the word forever, and I forgot which glyph that was, but
Then he
kind of it reminded me of the glyph for eternity, and I know that one is the sun disk in between the two twisted ropes.
twisted flax, right? Yeah, we saw that earlier. I'll just blow this back up so you can see it.
Yeah, and then I was wondering if there was that was I was at first I was thinking that could have been synonymous with the word forever, but I wanted to know if those were two different words. I mean,
No,
it's two different ways to spell it with the lips.
no, you're talking about the word nehi or hey, as it's
Yeah, yeah.
shortened to hey, and then the word jet. So those
And
are two
then
words that
forever,
I'm sorry, go ahead, say it again.
jet means forever, and nehe means eternity.
Yeah, some people flip it the other way and say one means eternity, the other one means forever. But those are two. It's like two different nuances dealing with time.
Okay, yeah. Okay.
And when you read up on it, you'll see that one is cyclic and the other one is linear.
Uh,
All right,
do,
so
do, I mean, do it.
yeah, but we saw that earlier,
yeah,
right here. So we have Nahi, and then we have Henna Jet.
who can check? It is eternity and together with forever.
I see.
All right. Nothing else? Okay, so if there's nothing else,
Is that do you think like from the nehi would be like, how we have nesut be like he of the suit, so in nehi would be like that, it would be like maybe a wordplay to with the he for a million or millions, so it would be that of millions, a million, like you said, and ne he, so it would be nehi.
okay, yeah, I don't know if you You sound a little pseudo there. I don't know.
Nah, I'm just thinking, because it, see, I'm coming off of my receipt and rest and what else vibes right now. But because you have Nehi for eternity, and then you have He for a million or millions or something.
Mm-hmm.
I was thinking with Nehi, I don't know. Anyway, but that's something I'll probably look
I mean,
at.
that's interesting though. That's interesting. Yeah, yeah. So look into that. Nehi. Now but you have to say Nisut is really the knee is actually an adjectival Nisbi.
Okay.
Uh, um, that's the way to get the genitive knee. So Nisut, that knee on there is that prepositional Nisbi.
Makes sense. Okay.
All right, so that's different. So we say
Yeah.
Nihi, you gotta demonstrate that it's a prepositional Nisbi on there.
Okay.
Then you'll be onto something. If you can't do that, then you gotta put it on the shelf.
Oh yeah. We're not gonna twist it and make it work for us like everybody else. Just because it's gotta work.
The twisted flax is really the double helix of the DNA of the human being. So, eternity is all about the secrets of eternity, is really all about the secrets of the DNA. Once you map the human genome, then you can manipulate it. See, and when you manipulate it in such a way with the telomeres, which is the end of the DNA molecule, start trimming the telomeres off or preventing them from being trimmed off, then you can elongate your life and therefore live for eternity. Hence, the word he with the double twisted flax with the sun in the middle is eternity, because that's eternal life. Yeah. See how I did that? The Egyptians was tapping into the DNA code. They were geneticists.
Hey, say, have y'all ever heard that the Egyptians use sound frequency to build the pyramids?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I've heard that, man. I think I probably heard everything. I think I've heard everything.
It's crazy, man.
But see, here's the
How come we
thing,
can't
though.
do that today? Like, that's crazy. How can we can't levitate them stones like that?
But here's the thing: when people do that, see, when you study the culture, like there's really not. I don't know of maybe. I mean, it's very, very extremely rare to find something in isolation in a culture. Meaning, like for example, like I was saying the other day about the electricity and the so-called light bulbs in the Temple of Het Heru in Dendera, the Temple of Dendera, people say. In that temple, in one crypt room that is like a storage closet. That's what they call it, a crypt, but it's really a storage closet. In that temple, that's where those so-called light bulb glyphs are. Now, Kemet lasted for over 3,000 years, and you will not find that anywhere else in the entire land of Kemet. But yet it's tucked away in one storage closet in one temple at one period of time. So that alone should be like, okay, well, this is highly, highly, highly unlikely. So let me look for another explanation. But that's what people do. People think that things are done in isolation. No. Like, like the Hotep Dinasu? That's everywhere. Unks are everywhere. Rauniu Peret Imheruz, everywhere.
Yeah, I remember them saying it's a large room somewhere down there with a small statue, and they use that room for like worship, prayer, or something like
You went really low. Say it again. Sorry, say it again.
that. Like I remember somebody was telling me a story about when they went to Egypt, the small, not a small, no, it wasn't a small room, it was a large room with like And the only thing in their room was this one little small statue, and they said they used that to use that for worship.
Well, you see, when people say that, they have to demonstrate, they have to show something to back up or support what they're saying. You know, that's what I'm saying. I can't, chasing man, the things I've heard, boy, we wouldn't have a life if we had to chase every claim down and around. But like I said earlier, a lot of
Yeah,
things that are being interpreted, a lot of things are being misinterpreted and chalked off to superstition, belief, spooky stuff, pseudo stuff. And that's, not to say that there was no superstition, because humans by nature, you travel backwards in time, we were more and more superstitious because we were
yeah,
more and more ignorant about how things operate, how things work. Like,
yeah,
for example, people still superstitious today. They don't want to have a floor in a high rise with the number 13 on it. So instead of labeling the 13th floor the 13th floor, they'll label the 13th floor 14. It's not like they'll have a blank floor with just concrete and then the next one is 14. No, they just won't put the number on there because people are superstitious about the number 13, black cats, walking under a ladder, splitting the pole, and all these other kinds of things. These are embedded superstitions that go way back for other reasons. And so yeah, stuff like that exists or existed. But in general, though, a lot of things that are being interpreted as beliefs, religion, and spooky stuff like that, in that sense, is really a figurative way of expressing some realities. There's some realities behind this stuff that are very real, and it's like what they're talking about. And I always give the famous example, the metaphor, I have butterflies in my stomach. We just happen to know the reality behind that metaphor. But imagine if the reality was cut off. You would think that I was crazy, or I actually believed that human beings ate butterflies and butterflies were flying around in people's stomachs. If you don't know the reality that I'm referring to, which is nervousness. See, butterflies in the stomach is a metaphor for the phenomenon that we call nervousness. That's all it means. So nervousness is the reality. Butterflies in the stomach is the figurative expression of that. And so a lot of these texts were written in a technology we now call figurative expressions, but there are realities behind it. And that's the challenge to figure out. But the only way you're going to do that is first be able to read and absorb the figurative expressions to even tap in beyond that to get to the realities. And that's why I say and I don't have these conversations live, because people are not even trying to even deal with what you read. And people too worried about the Egyptians are black or white or purple, and if the Egyptians are gay, or if the Egyptians is really a Sumerian outpost and all this other stuff. It's just crazy. you know. But yeah, so yeah, I just hope that people, start to step it up and get in sync and be more sincere, and then we can engage these kinds of conversations. Because like I said, there's a lot to talk about. There's a lot to talk about, and I was barely willing to even talk about the meaning of the place name Kemet, because I know people are going to trip off that it doesn't mean the land of black people. I don't care what anybody says. That makes no sense at all. It only makes sense to get a group of people to feel good. Um, you know, the Egyptians would name their kingdom after their skin color, but yet paint themselves with a pigment that don't match the skin color that people say it means. That is the most silliest thing that I just don't understand how people could hold on to that.
The weirdest part is without the labeling or identification system that got from the Europeans with the colors, if you were to ask any African people to name themselves or to describe their skin color, most of the time you will probably not come up with the word black.
Right. But anyway, I'm just saying. So I'm just saying, you know, I know, and I'm speaking to the type of conversations. You know, people have to just be ready to have these conversations. Ancestral veneration is going, like the conversation I had about spirit, that needs to be revisited, because spirit is not what people think it is. What, you know, quite a few people think it is, because people think of spirit as a thing, but yet when they describe it, they're talking about energy, and energy is not a thing. It's not an entity. It's a property, just like height. Nobody would think of height as a thing or an entity. Nobody does that. So you got to ask yourself, why do people do that with energy? So there's some kind of mix up going that happened and got a lot of people believing that energy is not what it is. Energy is a property of matter. Without matter, there can be no energy. And if spirit equates to energy, then therefore without matter, there's no spirit. So when people talk about spirits as an immaterial reality, that makes absolutely no sense. People had to change the way that you think on that. The paradigm had to shift. Same thing with ancestral veneration. These are spirit venerations, you know, worshiping the spirits, venerating the ancestral spirits, the ancestors, and this leaving sacrifices, food, offerings for the ancestors. You know, you fix your family dinner, you want to leave a plate for the ancestors and do certain rituals and have a shrine for the ancestors and stuff. What is that? What is really, really, really going on for all that? What's happening there? Those kind of conversations.
And how do you observe spirit?
How do you observe a spirit?
Yeah.
Well, see, the way like I said, the way people describe spirit, they're describing energy. And energy is measurable because the property, just like height is a property of matter. And we measure it in units of inches, centimeters, meters, feet. So I say, how tall are you? Your answer is, you're going to give me your height. And you measured it. Energy is a measurement. Energy is a property that is given in the form of a measurement. You know, so energy is the measurement of the ability to do work, and it's usually measured in units of somebody correct me if I'm wrong, because I'm going off the top of my head, joules, I believe.
Yeah, I was about to say that's for electricity, right?
Now, when you got different, you have watts, wattage, voltage, and stuff like that, volts and watts, but energy is measured in joules, which is in itself is something over something, Newton something over something. I'm just going off the top of my head. But the point is that people describe spirit as energy, but energy is a property of matter. Just like height is a property of matter or something.
I mean, some people do try to intermingle electricity with spirit energy.
Yeah, I mean, some people see energy as electricity because it's a form. See, remember, energy breaks down into sub forms. You have two major categories of energy. So let me make that clear. Energy, then you have two major categories, kinetic and potential. But then below that, you have this, you can subdivide it. You have thermal energy, and all the other different kinds of energy. But it all comes back to potential or kinetic. And it ultimately comes back to something that is measurable based upon matter. It's a property. Without matter, you're not going to have any measurement.
Yeah, even air is a gas. I mean, air is a gas. So even that is,
Well,
it's not
air,
visible. It's not visible, but it is material.
yeah. But here's the thing. Well, air, yeah, air is like a blanket term for several different kinds of gases, because you can have like
Mhm.
like the air we breathe in our like outdoors is oxygen plus what nitrogen and a couple of other things in there, different types of gases. but um, but anyway,
So what does that even mean for our breath?
say it again.
So what does that even mean for our breath when it comes
Breath.
to, the spirit?
Well, spirit is an observation. See, Latin, the word spiritus means breath or wind. And
Hmm.
so what they were trying to describe or coin the word to describe was this invisible, something invisible that can affect things that are visible. And so they use that as a metaphor or in a comparative way to the same thing that caused us to move. So you have animus, anime, animal, animation. Those are all words for movement. And so what causes things to move is invisible. So they compared it to air, because when the wind blows, things move, but you can't see the wind, but you see the things moving.
Yeah.
And so it's something that is felt. And that's why, it gets into the confusion between the word soul and spirit as well, because soul, like even in our African American culture, we have this soul music, and it's music that makes you move. It moves you. It's emotional, like blues. It moves the inner being of you and stuff. So all this talk about movement and causing things to move and feeling things, but yet it's invisible. So we use words like spirit, soul, and stuff like that for these things. But it's all material. There's nothing immaterial about that. And so when people describe ancestors as being non-material, you have to stop them, because you have to ask yourself what, like living human beings, we have barriers, right? Our skin, we know where we stop and something else begins, like the air around us. There's a border around us that makes us distinct. So you got to ask yourself, in terms of a spirit, like when people think of a spirit as a thing, then what is its borders? Do like, if two spirits come too close to each other, are they gonna just blend and merge and just whatever? What distinguishes that border to make a spirit, that one, and the other one and the other one?
Yeah.
We clearly see that with two human beings.
Can it even count count the quantity of spirits on the
But now hold
planet?
up, and here's another thing too, because anything on the same density level is as what do you call it? What's the term I'm looking for? The term slips me, but like, for example, um we appear to be able to walk through air, right? Because air is so much less dense than our bodies. But everything in the same density level with the same density will clash and collide. And so much so down to the subatomic level of the hadron collider. They're smashing together subatomic particles, electrons, smashing them together. That means an electron smashing into another electron, which means that both of them are in the same density level and they can hit each other, they collide. They don't just pass through each other freely. So my question would be, when it comes to spirits, two different spirits obviously will clash with each other if they were entities, because they're both the same density level. So what is that border around? And what is the shape like? Why are spirits always described as shaped like human beings, like with two legs, two arms, a head, and all that kind of stuff? Same thing we do with
And
aliens.
with aliens. Yep.
Right. Same thing we do with aliens. We describe spirits and aliens and stuff in a human form. We anthropomorphize spirits as entities, but when you hear people elaborate or explain it, they're talking about energy.
Yeah. Matter of fact, they remind me of that live you did that I think it was last year or something like that.
What do
Yeah.
spirits, aliens, and something have in common?
Yeah, how the
Yeah.
anamorphic bodies.
Yeah, so they say spirit body. That's weird to say, spirit body.
Yeah.
Spirit body, you know? But the Egyptians didn't see the human being so linear like that, so homogeneous like this one thing. They saw the human being as being a composite of different entities with different functions, all working together, and glued and gelled together in the body. When the body stops functioning and runs its course, then the other ones are unglued, and they saw things differently. Everyone has all of them has expiration times and dates. The only way to preserve the cat, which has a natural expiration date, is the process they perfected and did, called mummification, petrifying the body to keep it, to overextend its normal decay time. All right. So, and remember, this is interesting too, because time needs movement, and movement is animation. Animation is translated as spirit, spiritus, anime, animation. They got changed, they got swapped, spiritus for anime. And so people will tell you that God is spirit. And they'll tell you that they'll liken it unto movement, because they'll say in the beginning of the creation stories, they'll say God moved. At least in the Abrahamic ones, they say God, the spirit of God moved on the face of the deep. There's always movement. Why? You got to ask yourself, why start off a creation story with God moving? So I'm gonna leave it at that, because if I start talking about it, then it's gonna be another 2 hours for real on that one. But that's the
Yeah.
question. Why does God start off moving? I don't know why I want to call on Mika. Whenever I talk about the Bible, it's like I want to call on Mika.
Hey, when God said let there be light, did he move his lips?
when he said, let there be light, God said, does God have a larynx, a vocal box, and lips and stuff? A tongue to enunciate and proper pronounce these words?
And how did
Yeah.
he create himself? Like,
No, but for real, like, what language did God speak though? For real?
Yeah. Well, not English then.
Godlish.
And not even Adam spoke.
Oh, he
Crazy.
spoke. He spoke Adamese, Adamese, Adamian.
Brother, we know Adam and Eve spoke Hebrew, brother.
Oh man, okay.
Hebrew is the oldest language.
Lashon Ibri. Ivri. Lashon. Lashon. Lashon Ivrit. Iya Asher Iya. Badashith Bada. Shamayim. No, but still, just ask yourself that though. Why does the story start off with God moving though? And then why is he moving on the face of something that's the deep, the tohom, boho, toho, boho? Why? You know what I mean? Why is this movement? You know, you're gonna find out, boy. You're gonna find out really quick. You hang around long enough, you're gonna find out. You're gonna start hearing things like new coming from word nini, inert, and how that inertness started to stir itself up in the soul or in the ba or the ib of the supreme being, and how movement started, and how that movement started, and it came out of new, this infinite and eternal formlessness abyss, and how the Bible says God moved, the spirit of God moved on the face of the deep. Boy, I tell you. Don't get me started. All right. So anyway, so that's it for me. You got anything else? I'm still spotlighting this. Anybody got anything else?
That's it for me.
All right. Lisa, anything? Ghana Bonsu, Donnie, Chris, Mika.
Nin.
Tricked you.
I was away from my phone.
I'm good.
Yeah, I was away from my phone, but I did want to add on the new part. When you listen to in the Akan language, we have the number system, and the number system, the number 2 is Anu or Banu. So if you hear it, you can listen. You can hear Ba and Nu happens to translate to be a type of water in Akan as well. So it's just interesting that you mentioned that.
Okay. All right. Nice. Yeah. What's interesting, since you brought up numbers, the number 2, dual, is also a word for another. And I know in cultures, when people see other people, like today, we call people who are not our blood relatives, but we may say a male. If we see another male, we say, "What's up, bro?" or "Brother." Excuse me, brother.
Right.
And then a female, we say, "Hey, sis," or "Excuse me, sister." And there's like a kind of like an affectionate term of endearment, like that we refer to each other. But it's so overused now that that's like everybody's numb to it. But in ancient times, the word for brother and sister in Rani Kemet in Egypt is sin and sinet, coming from the word sin, which means a sibling. And ultimately, it comes back from the word for number 2, or a double, or another. So you see your fellow man as another you. And if you grow up in a culture that inculcates that, then you're going to treat people differently.
You're traveling man.
If you say it again.
You're traveling man.
Yeah, I used to be. Definitely.
All right.
So
Gave it away.
so when you see, in ancient times, they would have a more better relationships with each other, like this interconnectedness, interrelationships, and it's reflected in the way they express themselves. So sin, sinet, brother and sisters really is, okay, you're my double and you're my double. You're my feminine double. You're my masculine double, brother, sister. And so,
Right. So,
That's interesting. It definitely vindicates the I and I brethren, the
yeah,
roster, I and I.
yeah, I and
Yeah.
I,
Uh-huh.
uh, what they say? They say, um, I am because we are. That's like another saying. I am because we are. That's the more group collective um way. And we got to really get back to that, but we got to mean it. Like right now we say, "What's up, bro? Hey, sis," and all that. But the backing is not there like it used to be. So I'm just saying. But no, that's interesting though. That's interesting. When you brought up numbers, I just thought about that. Sin, the number, we say Y is number one, sin is two.
right. Well, the number system is kind of crazy because with the new and the fact that they use it as the numbers goes as Anu and Banu, which Ba is the heart or a child of. And then I knew they had me back to that Sumerian thing all over again. And then I started digging deeper into some of these tribes. We actually have a tribe in the area of Ghana called Ba'anu, or the
Mm-hmm.
children of Anu. So it's, even though those Sumerian, some of these, the guys you were speaking on earlier, in a sense, have do kind of go and start reaching for, grasping for straws. A lot of this stuff is like linking all together. Even and all ancient cultures tend to draw from the same place. So we know since that's the case, then just examining the bits and pieces and the little nuances, because it's so many similarities. It's maddening. It's really maddening. So that's why I don't even speak too much when you guys are doing the translation.
Well, no, that's good. I'm glad you mentioned that. It's just unfortunate that see like stuff like that comes up at the end when I'm trying to shut it down. But let me just say something fast because we could see. I'm gonna have to come back to these videos and remember how we ended because I always say we're gonna pick up and have a topical conversation based on the last topic, whatever. But on that right there, um, man, I forgot what I was gonna say. So maybe that's a good thing. Let me just be quiet because you said the what last thing you said? You said something that made me.
I was just referencing the fact that everything kind of comes full circle when you
Oh
say
yeah,
that.
there you go. Okay, so the reason here's the reason a reason why a lot of ancient cultures seem to be similar. Like there's a layer of similarity around the world, really. But obviously, in the closer proximity to each other, it'll be more similarities there, obviously. But the reason why there's so many overlapping things within these cultures, the further back in time you go, is because of what I said earlier. We have to understand that the documentation, whether it came to us by way of an oral tradition or in a written form, um, we are like several years, displaced from the direct observation that they were documenting and wanted to pass on. And so these people were witnessing the same natural phenomena depending on where they were geographically, where they were, the experiences may be slightly different, but there's a lot of overlapping. Like for example, wherever it rains, and we know it rains all over the planet, but not in every place on the planet, but it rains in a very diverse set of areas around the world. And so if you're going to describe and try to analyze and explain rain to your people, you're going to do it a certain way. And then if you compare that explanation for group A to the explanation that was recorded for group B and group C and so on, you're going to see similarities. Why? Because they're explaining the same phenomena. The sun rising. Everybody's going to see a sunrise. Everybody's going to see a rain. Everybody's going to see lightning. Everybody's going to hear thunder. A lot of people are going to witness a volcano erupt wherever they are. They're going to witness earthquakes. A lot of people are going to witness what do you call it? Solar um what do you call it? Eclipse, the solar eclipse, the lunar eclipse. and these natural phenomena that occur gets incorporated in these documentations, and then it started to build off of. So that's why you're going to see a lot of similarities. That's where it starts at, the core.
I think it actually goes a little bit further into human history with the separation of the continents. That our cultures existed prior to that continental drift that happened, which kind of would leave it to be where you pick up with all these weird stories about the languages changing and everything. Because even it's just crazy. I don't want to.
You got real low. I was with you when you said you start off, but you got low.
Now I was saying, can you hear me now?
Yeah. Yep.
I was just saying that I think it goes back further to more of the beginning of human history when you start looking at the whole Pangea theory. I think our cultures were thriving even back then, and that's why we have some of those similarities. But over time, children, just slang in general, because you have slang amongst the youth everywhere you go. Things started changing, and you flash forward a few 100,000 years, and everything went haywire.
Well, I mean,
that's just my theory.
Okay. No, that's cool. And that's what I'm saying. We sharing. So now if you want to bring that up, okay, I see you there, and I will raise you the fact that the very fact that we're all human, or Homo sapien sapien, that in and of itself is going to present a lot of similarities. Because why? Because all Homo sapiens sapiens were bipedal. That means we have two legs. We have 10 digits if we're healthy. Some people were born with 6, 12, but we have 5 on each hand, 10 digits. We most of our senses, see, touch, taste, hear, smell, are in our head. The sense of touch is the only one that's outside of our head. So our eyes are in our head, our ears are in our head, our nose are in our head, and our mouth is in our head. So the head becomes the true head, or the control center for all Homo sapiens sapiens. And then the fact that all of us are catabolic, we are warm-blooded, and so we need to eat every day. So just the fact that we share in the same biological sense is going to, by default, produce a lot of similarities. So we don't even need to separate any continents or be a part of the same continent. I don't care where we are, we're going to have similarities. We could be on Mars and be on Earth, and we're gonna be similar because we're the same species right now, no matter what color we are.
But I mean, in terms of learning, I think that we, as human beings, we started out in a smaller group. But I want to touch on one thing you said, and then I'm gonna cut it short. I'm not gonna speak. We're not gonna speak on this no more because I want to go to bed too. But touch is the only actual sense that we have as far as our what we call our senses. Photons touch our eyes. Particles of food touch our receptors in our nose. You know what I mean? The taste, we have to touch. And then, of course, the actual touch. So it's all touching at the end.
Okay, you know what? I agree with you 100%, but I would word it differently, because we have 5 senses: see, touch, taste, hear, and smell. And you're right, they're all one sense, but I would, just me, when I explain it, I prefer to say that one sense is contact, not touch, because touch is one of the listed 5. So you narrow down, it's really contact. Everything has to come in contact. So there has to be a contact. And semantically, touch and contact are very similar in meaning.
Right. I can agree to that. There's no argument there. I can agree to
that. Yeah. So I just switch it up to contact because I want to keep the 5 as the 5, so I don't overlap with the word touch. So, but no, I agree with you 100%, and that's absolutely correct. The senses. So, but my point of saying what I was saying earlier about the senses is that the senses is really one, like you said, but it's like it inputs or divides into 5, but 4 of the 5 is in our head, which is seeing, tasting, smelling, and hearing. They're all from the neck above. And so we get this sense of presence of the I-ness in our head, you know, where like this command center. So we judge everything from the neck up, because that's the input devices. That's how we kind of experience the outer world. The universe is through those senses, and 4 of them
Yeah,
are in
you
our head.
you
You know
have
what
me
I'm saying?
now thinking on the difference between the ib, which is the what they say the other heart, right? Is that the translation for the ib as opposed to the ba?
The ib is the mind, and the boss something different, but you kind of getting there. So yeah, so I can already see, you know, you're gonna be a participant in these conversations, because we're gonna break this stuff down. We're gonna
Yeah.
break down the cot.
I'm trying to get my tongue back.
Yeah, we're gonna break down the cot, the kaibit or shoot, the ka, the sahu, the ib, the ren, the ak, the sekhem, the ba, all this good stuff broken down, and what they function as, and how they interconnect, interrelate, what deities govern them, and all that kind of stuff, and why. So we'll get to that. So
All
yes,
right, that'll be great. That's gonna
that's the
be
kind of
awesome.
conversations I'm talking about. Trickier said phantom limbs kills that. Oh, phantom limbs. Yeah, we have phantom limbs. No, okay. Let me clarify. I mean, not that, not that nah, I mean, everybody got what I said about the senses, but check this out. So it's only one sense. Now, some people say it's touch, but I just prefer to say contact. So we got see, touch, taste, hear, smell. That comes down to one, contact. But here's the thing. That contact, the point of contact for the sense of contact is in the mind. Everything we experience is really an experience in the mind. So the whole external world, everything that we perceive in the external world is by way of those 5 senses, but it inputs into this internal world called the mind or the ib. And so everything is experienced in the ib or the mind. And so,
Oh,
That's
hold on, I
dope.
gotta.
Like
You said
experience.
you said
Okay.
inspiring, but insperience literally is inspiring, and inspire means to
Yeah.
inhale.
right. But now check this out. In inspiration, you have the word spirit in its spirit. And so it all goes back to this unseen but yet effective thing, something that's effective but unseen, unknown. And so now we're going to start talking about the borderline between that which is imperceivable and that which is perceivable. So you have Amen, the imperceivable one, and Ra, which is the perceivable one. And together, Amen Ra, and that borderline right there. But I'm telling you, see, y'all listen, man. It's 1 o'clock. I need to go. So I'm gonna in this now, but we're gonna have these conversations in the future, in the near future. But I'm just trying to get more people, see where more people are at, to really engage and share in a more structured way, so we can kind of walk through stuff and bust open text. Because we could talk for days without referring to different texts. I can show you how the Egyptians were on explaining different things, the ancient Egyptians and stuff. So we'll get to that point.
Right. It's better to read it from the text, and that's how it was years ago for me. But you guys weren't around then. Don't talk about 2000 times. So this is like a refresher course for me, and I'm really enjoying it.
Yeah, we're gonna get back into that. So, all right, but I'm gonna say Shemim Hotep to everybody. Appreciate everybody tuning in. Whoever's gonna watch this video in the archive, you make it to the end. Hey, but great presentation, excellent presentation, Emiket. Um, at least people will watch that portion. That was the first 30 minutes. That was excellent.
Sounds
So we're gonna do more. So Freestyle Friday, we'll see everybody. So I'm gonna say Shemim Hotep and good end.